There's a couple of different worlds, isn't there, where this game exists. There's the world where SR come in and say, right, enough is enough, playtime's over, this is now for the qualification, we're going to come out here and we're going to show our quality. And then there's another world where that just doesn't happen. And 1 of 30 continue to play the brand of Siege that they've started playing, they continue to move through, and they can start to make something happen. Some things change and some things stay the same. What will be the change and what will be the staying the same here tonight? Time will tell. We've got a lot of hard breach ban, hard breach denial ban, which is pretty normal for Nighthaven Labs. Something that really swings it for me for SR when we look at this game on paper, it are the maps. I think that Nighthaven Labs, fantastic map for SR. And you look over onto the second map as well. We've got the Lair. Again, very early adopters of Lair. No surprise to see that be picked for them as well. So there's an advantage in map rule, and it is because SR have been, they're the longest standing team inside of NAL at the moment. After every team made a change at the start of kickoff, they were the only ones to remain the same.
Indicating a very clear and understandable faith in their system, but as the desk has mentioned, still oftentimes justifying it, but not in a way that I think a lot of us would hope and would really appreciate. I mean, win over M80 is excellent, knocking M80 out entirely. Well, one, tragedy for M80 fans, but able to win over such a strong opponent 2-1 is a good start, an excellent start. And now, with just one more game separating you and qualification to Salt Lake City against 1 of 30 as well, a team that on paper you should beat every day of the week. This is the time for Shopify Rebellion to show that even if sometimes on the upper end things are going to get close, we can still count on them to do the basics. On the flip side for 1 of 30, I mean, yesterday, you were robbed of a good opportunity against 5 Fears. So come in with a vengeance today and try to make it happen here. Bans have come through, by the way, of course. Harbridge did not ban on the outside. Nomad and Capital for Shopify Rebellion. Rexton trying to prep a C4 out of the generator window. So nobody really in a position to, I think, face that. Ooh, hello. Mike W spotting a clash. Shield on her back, hopping up onto a desk. And now we've just kind of moved on from that engagement entirely. Just a normal first minute on Nighthaven Labs.
The clash is going to be the biggest problem, I think, for 1 of 30. It's surprising to see that let through, but they've obviously preferred to make opening the walls a little bit easier, and maybe we'll ban the clash at the end of round 3, start of round 4 phase. But it's still something that they will have to endure for the first 3 rounds here. And I'm not seeing anything that's a clear way of dealing with it. It's not like they're specifically going to target Vert and make it so Canadian can't play in certain positions or remove some of the flooring. It's really just going to be down to good old utility and a bit of a crossfire, but Mike W falling early. That's the Hibana gone out of the picture. Mike W a great space finder on this 1 of 30 roster, but not able to find sufficient space here inside of round 1. Silo trying to leverage that slight noise chaos and will take advantage of Surf. With Packer falling as well, a brief advantage was there, but Ambi has seemed quick to level that right back up.
Now losing 1v1s in the first bout on Nighthaven Labs. With 2 Candelas remaining. Ooh, catches Ambi with his back turn. Next one lines up perfectly for him. And that's all she wrote for round 1. 1 of 30 with a quick 3-piece toward the end of the round. Get their first attack on second floor.
Just going to show there that a nice, straightforward IT take with a little bit of construction pressure, a bit of a backstab coming up fish stairs. It is a winning formula. Mike W is spitting bars there. Packer feeling pretty pleased with himself as well. I mean, it's round 1 in a best of 3. I feel like we're obviously missing the inside joke here, but I'm glad to see that 1 of 30 having a good time already in this game. Big kills from Bino. Able to net both of those side players, making that transition through electrical. I thought for a moment that SR had gone for a repeat upstairs just with the way that the site was getting set up and the view that we had there of the rafters, but they have indeed switched over and gone down toward that mid floor. Still going to be a requirement to hold on to that top floor though, and that's why you can see Spoit and Ambi both up there at the moment, just making the necessary rotations. Some Vert as well onto key spots that are going to lead in toward the site. Of course, placing a few barricades down as well, just to try and stop these players from just blindly walking in and taking so much space. They know what 1 of 30 are capable of in that regard and don't want to take any chances.
Definitely the safe bet. As well as you've got a clash on the board, you can really just fortify everything. See how it pans out. Smite W going for an early breach again. Exterior is always quite important and relevant on Nighthaven Labs. And this being the middle floor defense, or one of the middle floor defenses. Getting that exterior wall into garage will be quite important. As well, the Packer, what he can find over on the lounge side, the game side, can be a useful bit of pressure not only to apply to the site, but also just positioning to deny for the defense. Prevent them from rotating through and potentially, you know, finding ways either downstairs or to the opposite side of the map. Good to get that early and get a bead on it quickly. Next exterior wall to follow be IT, but Canadian, because he's on that clash, can take a bit of a peek and still hold firm. Not worried too much just yet. It is a very basic belt and braces kind of attack from 1 of 30 at the moment. We'll see how they try to vary things up as we're slowly reaching the halfway point of the round. I was about to say, hold on. Thinking about nading this Kiba. Never see a shield prep like that. It seems like a 3-2-1's incoming. Packer breaks through. Surf seems to hear it as Ampy gets the first pick onto Mike W. Packer trying to turn around and take down the Banshee. I think maybe getting his priorities a bit mixed up there. As the gun shoots him in the back. Canadian also as well. Topsy-turvy on the top floor. He's getting shot from the front and the back. Can't really blame him when one's completely exposed. Spoit down for the count, too. And a 5v3 suddenly becomes a tie game immediately. Silo, I think stuck somewhere. Maybe just a lot more gas to walk through than he anticipated. Shopify Rebellion gain their lead again as Volsper and Bino need to pick things up with a minute to go.
Got a lot of pressure here on these two players. Should be able to find at least one from the vert. They've successfully taken that top floor. Ambi and Surf now with a hell of a job, especially as a Malusi and a Ella. You don't really think of those as brilliant denial or time-wasting operators in this moment of a round. You'd far more rather have a C4 or smoke or something of that nature. But instead, they're just going to be left like fish in a barrel. And Surf's going to take tons of damage. Tries to hit a rotation, and Bino just there to take advantage of it. Ambi, one of the only players showing any signs of life on SR at the moment. 4-1 as the side currently sits. Bino trying to get that plant down, being covered from above. Ambi knows he just can't walk in, has to try and find the vert. And again, another successful round here for 1 of 30.
And another one which those trades that the desk mentioned are still very present. You get that awkward 5v3 start for SR, and then immediately 1 of 30 able to answer back and make it a 3v3. Quite impressive for a team this young to be able to do that, but it was one of the saving graces of their game against 5 Fears yesterday, and was very much won in round 2 on Nighthaven Labs. This is their pick, but Shopify Rebellion showing far too much lethargy, I think, so far. I mean, you look at that round, and you got Canadian Spoit on that top floor, but, I mean, 1 of 30 had them completely surrounded. Clash and Azami on top of each other, basically putting themselves in the perfect position for 1 of 30 to pinch at that point. So 2 rounds in a row for the attack. Shopify Rebellion will keep trying to trip them up, keep things different. Going to kitchen and dining, in fact, not the normal rotation down into the basement, but instead to the other first floor site. We'll see if that makes a difference, as it's not been sufficient against 1 of 30 so far.
5 seconds left.
Attacking rounds 1 on Nighthaven Labs as well.
Attacker's objective is to locate a
Really
bomb
brings
and
into
defuse it.
question maybe the bans as well that SR have chosen to go for, the Nomad and the Capital. Not really doing anything to make things easier at the moment. SR aren't finding themselves able to make real lengthy, meaningful rotations or flanks. It's something that could be a bit of an alarm bell here if 1 of 30 continue to chain these together. Will pit attacking sides as being the harder side in a game of Siege. Now it's only 2 rounds, it's early days. We'll have to see what it develops on into. Packer going to be moving through this top floor. Avoiding the basement site from SR as they're going to flip to the alternate mid-floor site in kitchen. And try and play this with a little bit more familiarity. Get somebody upstairs inside a connector. Try and keep a bit of control inside a meeting. potential for a bit of a side push here as a logic bomb phone call comes out. Spoit's going to be under increasing pressure here, and you can see him almost trying to scramble to find something. Flicks onto Bino and gives him the business. If he gets back down to side, that could be huge.
Oh, and Rexon with a clean free fire gets them both. Beautiful start for Shopify Rebellion. I mean, basically doing the strat Spoit's been playing across 2 different teams. Put him on Scopos, put him on second floor with the support of Canadian and Rexon.
Nothing nearby.
Able to get a 2-body lead over 1 of 30. Packer's been attempting to lurk on the opposite side. Spotted by an F-Naught. Exact thing you don't want at a moment like this. Dokkaebi call will go out. By the Soliton scanner, a lot of information that can be gathered for the remaining couple players of 1 of 30. But of course, an even greater hill to climb. The Fenrir and the Dokkaebi touching shoulders right now on the opposite side of this wall. Let's see if Volsper checks it as he's got one 90 degrees to his left and one 90 degrees to his right. F-Naught on the floor revealing his position as well. And be stuck in the corner. Flashbang good for it, and Packer threads the needle. Still a minute to go. A lot more information he can get. Spots 1, a couple rooms over. Flashbang as well. Gotta be careful as, yeah, there we go. Surf just swings and unfortunately takes them both down with 1 SMG-11 spray. First round for Shopify Rebellion. Of course, big frag by Spoit, but basically just, that's the exact win condition for that strategy, and SR have been running it for years.
The thing is, the Spoit kill's the flashy one, isn't it? That's like the looking the wrong way, flicks round and just domes Bino. The big kills for me come from Rexon. Backing him up on the stairs, and obviously Canadian's positioning as well. Canadian's positioning just overshadowed, unfortunately, by the kills because there's not a column on the scoreboard for positioning points. But being at the top of the stairs, being that link, able to give a little bit of an avenue, just open the window a little bit for Rexon to be able to swing around and peek. Fantastic play. 1 of 30, they had the game plan. They knew what they were going to be going up against here. It was just a little bit disjointed. They needed that pressure to come through from Connector a little bit sooner. And it just didn't happen. And then it was just as simple as backing down, holding the site. They've got a snake and a Dokkaebi, so they've got information coming out of the wazoo, but what are they really able to do about it? They've no meaningful way of impacting into the site. They can try and flash you out, but when you've got the man count advantage, you can always just dig in and play a trade like that, and Surf finding some really good positioning in the site. Again, avoiding going down to the basement, as SR are going to have a repeat attempt at this top floor. But now that they've broken that deadlock that they were facing on this defensive side, hopefully things will start to open up for them a little bit.
Jammer ready.
Good try will need to be a bit of an alternative strategy as, one, you have Canadian in the lobby, but also
5
playing the
seconds
Clash 3 rounds in a row. Really only one operator that 1 of 30 was ever going to ban, in all likelihood, going into this series, and certainly coming out for the first 3 rounds. So it won't be a surprise to, I think, anybody, including Shopify Rebellion. The Canadian won't have that tool at his disposal anymore. Ace is the next one, likely also not completely surprising. I mean, just as you deal with the exterior breach now, the hard breaching as well, it's often useful to deal with. So Mike W bring the Hibana. Operator, we've seen him play quite a bit as well. I think neither team particularly thrown off by the remaining few bans. Siler moving in quickly, though. 2 default cameras, but more importantly, control over by the lobby side, setting up a couple claymores as well. It's just a nice little beachhead to establish early. Make sure that nobody's lurking on this side. But also, if you're able to open up IT and apply pressure to garage later, the fact that you always have this as an option to backstab from will be very nice for 1 of 30.
Enemy devices.
A little bit of Thatcher action from the roof. Just trying to guarantee the wall get opened there. And mirror trick not being successful. Hibana a great counter, of course, to that mirror trick. The IT wall is going to be opened nice and early into the round. Inside of the first minute, it should give plenty of time. And without the clash, the Canadians try and orchestrate this whole attack or whole defense from, excuse me, it could be a little bit more difficult. It was a very straightforward push last time. Pressure in connector, pressure inside of electrical. Still got the bees of Grim to try and work with this. It was the ace that got removed. Obviously the C4s are going to be a big problem factor, especially when you can thread them right over the box inside of electric. Mike W just going to get caught out there on the breach, down for the count. Will be recoverable, but someone has to go a while out of their way to achieve that.
Manila over top. Smoke canister then goes in response to trying to stave off any kind of push. A important piece of utility for both sides being expended early. Mike W picked back up, so return to a 5v5 for about 2 seconds until Volsper and Bino both go down. Bino's presence on the generator window was telegraphed a long time ago, so that C4 likely had his name written on it before it was thrown. Spoit doesn't end up losing his head in that engagement. Silo tags him up heavily, but can't land the killing shot. DMR will light Surf up too, and yet nothing for 1 of 30 is quite going their way in round 4. A lot of damaged players, but nobody dead. 2 different players around the corner. I think that guy's prone on the opposite side of the overturned filing cabinet. Even then, I don't think that Silo will make contact with him whatsoever. Rexon peeking with the secondary shorty. Oh yeah, there you go. Shotgun at the ready. Silo is not making it out of this one. No flashbangs as well. Should be 1 pump, and that's the end of it. There we go. 2 pumps, actually. That's kind of strange, but either way, it's good enough for Shopify Rebellion, who tie the game at 4.
It's took me a while to click, but the Nomad ban is just perfectly slotted into sense in my brain, because playing that electrical doorway when you're trying to leverage C4s over the top of the cabinet straight onto electric window can be a bit of a nightmare if there is a Nomad in play. It can be a position that you're forced out of, zoned off from. There's nothing that you can do about an air jab above the doorway. You've got to kind of prone through and get it, and then you're worried about connector, and there's all sorts of little intricacies that go along with that. So SR choosing to pivot a lot of their defense around it, and almost annoyingly, 1 of 30 just blindly trying to headbutt through it. You'd think with that knowledge, they'd maybe try something a little bit different. If they've got shields at their disposal, like there's a full wealth of means that they can use to try and take control of places like Catwalk and Fish and go for something a little bit alternate, but it just seems like they've attacked in that last round exactly where SR are strongest.
Well done.
We'll see if they can potentially try to channel that instinct. I mean, well, I suppose instinct to avoid the places they're strongest in round 5. You think back to where they were in that, or where SR strong point was for this defense. It seemed to be on that top floor. You had the Clash, you had the Azami, and yet 1 of 30 were able quite nicely to get both of those defenders involved. It ended up being, 2v2, very close round. The thing that can trip a lot of teams up, that second floor, 1 of 30 didn't face as much troubles on. It was actually kind of lurks down below that resulted in a 3v5, that out of which 1 of 30 had to recover. Of course, actually, no, we have that bottom floor defense. Excuse me.
Nothing to worry about.
I got used to the set rotation. I got comfortable. It's probably what Shopify Rebellion were intending to do. Do a rotation, 1 of 30 used to it. Now you bring out the basement, as you haven't gone to it a single time up until this point. Only a couple roamers on this top floor, all playing pretty close to staircases as well, I believe. So Shopify Rebellion actually trying to play very close to the site, just shoot down some information early. And aside from Ambi, who's going on a roam with 1 castle barricade left, pretty much everybody else is not looking to, I suppose, gamble anything. And there we go. Locks off his retreat the moment he uses it.
It's kind of like SR didn't want to go down to the basement until they'd guaranteed that ace ban. I mean, Thermite's still there, but it isn't being played, so Bino going to have all of the hard breaching duty to do, save a couple of tin openers on Mike W, 1 of which is already used. Soliton Scanner on Vulsper going to be a brilliant tool to search out some of these roamers, but it's going to be the strength of the site that worries me if I'm 1 of 30 here. Try to get in now and start to use some of these boogie drones, but there are going to be plenty of places to hide, and it's very quickly destroyed. Another 2 impacts, 1 for each Rexon and Spoit. Those boogies probably not going to have the desired effect. Canadian tempted for a little bit of a walk up cargo stairs there, but thinks better of it. Instead, utilizes a little bit of utility. Going to place out another smoke canister and just stop anyone from pushing down. Vulsper, he's going to know his position. He's got him on the scanner. There's not too much that he's going to be able to do about it. Packer holding the cross, maybe chasing a bit of a shadow, but a great C4 there, threaded up through the floor. Vulsper will be the first player to fall.
The strategy employed by Canadian of just keeping the attack at bay with these toxic canisters has been good for 1 kill and quite a bit of time as well. Mike W put low. I don't even know how. He ends up choking out him in the process. Canadian might fall, but look at how much has been gained. 2 kills, Silo on 1 HP, a lot of time burnt as well. Bino is able to thread the needle through the top floor, find Surf on Mira. So the man count's even. 1 of 30 don't have a lot. 2 flashes, no Dokkaebi calls, and only 20 seconds remaining. Ambi also still on the roam. Can hit a flank at a crucial moment. Packer, a big 1v1 that might have shifted things, but Rexon puts a lid on it. So as Bino and Silo commit, Ambi I don't think will even have any time in the sun. The site players seem to have this one well in hand. Spoit with control of the diffuser as well. Maybe we'll be able to win it on time? No. Rexon wants the kill, and Shopify Rebellion want the lead.
SR now really getting into the swing of things. You can see starting to work together a little bit more than they were in the first couple of rounds. 1 of 30 potentially peaking a little bit too soon on this attacking phase. Now that the game is well and truly underway, SR have taken a narrow lead, but a lead nonetheless. I'm going to be fairly pleased with that. Again, just good basics. They're not trying to reinvent the wheel here. They're not going for any, real elaborate Roman strategy or utility exchange. It's just hold key areas, cargo stairs, hold the site, have Ambi, floating around upstairs a little bit on the castle. He can be fairly self-sufficient there. I think we all know that Ambi can handle themselves in those sort of situations and just let the rest of the team do the work. Surf, bit of an unspoken hero there in round 5. Chance for an equal half, but equally chance for SR to get a 2-round lead at the end of what is going to be now round number 6. And we go back down to that mid-floor. Again, going to be opening up into this top and extending a little bit in toward connector and electrical. Canadian potentially even going to place the mirror window there on that connector wall. One looking back in toward that top floor and rafters as well. So tons of options for the roamers here of SR.
Tons of options indeed. We'll see how 1 of 30 is able to deal with that as we moved since rounds 1 and 2. We had a pretty clear trend emerge. Probably should acknowledge. 5 opening picks in a row for Shopify Rebellion, of course, but in the past few rounds, whereas 1 of 30 were able to recover a lot of the Rebellion presence, a lot of that roaming, but just a lot of the forward presence has been a bit too difficult for 1 of 30 to handle in their entirety. So if you look to what might happen here, sure, it's first floor. Going to have a lot of presence on that second, but with those mirror windows, with those zombie and Kiba barriers, a lot to work through. And you look at the lineup they have as well.
Drone up and running.
The attacking operator bans, there's a very clear methodology, as you're pointing out, with the Nomad and the Ace, but you have Ying, you have Grim, Dokkaebi, and Deimos on the board. This is a very bog standard setup for 1 of 30 right now, and it's good to get these breaches. It's good to accomplish a lot of important objectives. But if this starts getting a bit hectic, not a whole lot of utility to kind of break the stalemate beyond that Grim.
Yeah, especially when you sort of pigeonholed into bring in both the Thatcher and the Hibana. Obviously, even with the electrification band, it's still a requirement. It seems that 1 of 30 want to bring that Thatcher, and there are plenty of other uses for it, of course. His primary one is always going to be denying that breach. Ambi, you can seemingly do no wrong so far. 6 and 3 with a great kill through IT breach. Spoit as well, having one of his trademark moments. Oh, and Ambi just keeps on going. Make it 4. They just line up for him. You can't give Ambi that level of opportunity. After the first kill, that should have been enough to know, do not peek IT.
Don't peek IT, don't peek Ambi and Shopify Rebellion with a lead. We'll see what our desk has to say.
Yeah, nice 4-2 start for Shopify Rebellion. This is exactly where they wanted to put themselves early. What stands out to you so far, Fox?
I think the biggest thing is after the first 2 rounds, Shopify Rebellion understands exactly what 1 of 30 is doing. They start slowing it down. They're bringing the Malusi, Ellas, Azamis, and the Miras. I think the Mira has been a big disruptor for 1 of 30, just being able to adapt around it. They're trying to bring the Ash, they're trying to bring the Hibana to get like those exterior mirrors, but it's not working in the way that they want, and it's making them waste their focus because they're spending so much time on it that the last 4 rounds, every time they try to actually go for an attack, not only do they have to make the first move with limited utility where the big plays from SR are shutting it down, but even if they do have an even man count, there's 20 seconds left for them to be able to try to make something happen. They get panicked, they scramble, and again, SR, they're all just posted up.
Again, just to piggyback off what you're talking about, you're talking about time being wasted, they're losing track of what time is, they're losing track of how they're going to approach a site. They're also losing the man advantage. They were the opening death 6 out of those rounds. There was a lot of problems on that attacking half, clearly, that weren't being fixed from one round to the next. It didn't really look like there was a lot of recourse of how are we gonna, solve this problem? What's the issue? What can we bring to make this easier for us? Even on that first up top round, the first IT round, they could have went below and opened up that mirror. That would have opened up so much of that site, that would have put so much pressure on SR, but it kind of reminds me of the old NIP is, when the problem is there isn't a solution outside of let's just keep throwing bodies at it. And if we get the frag, great. We get into the site, great. But there isn't an actual strategy in mind in terms of how you can turn it back into your
They
favor.
don't want to deal with the vertical play.
Yeah.
I think they were scared of the SR's roaming capabilities, and that's not even what SR was doing in those rounds. And they were just trying to punch their way through the problem, and that's not going to work. That does have worries transitioning onto defense, because if you're not willing to play that verticality, you're not going to have C4s. This should be a very easy run for SR. And the first mistake that 1 of 30 could do right now is letting Monty not get banned. If they don't ban Monty Ying, I'd say those two operators, 1 of 30 clearly is misunderstanding what's going on. Okay, well, there you go. I mean,
That's exactly what I wanted to see going into this.
That's a great play. So now it's forcing SR to have to be creative on the way that they want to entry. SR is not going to be scared of vertical play. They're not. They're going to deal with it head on. They're going to get rid of wall denial so that they can have easier breaching, open up the site, and be able to make 1 of 30 uncomfortable. Again, I think it'll be the exact same thing as their defense. They open up everything, force 1 of 30 to make a decision, and once they get that opening kill, then they execute onto the site.
Should have called.
All right, it's going to be really key for 1 of 30 to try to get out of that potentially deadly pattern for them and see if they can apply some pressure to Shopify Rebellion here in the second half. Lynx?
See if they can manage it, indeed. Have to hope it works out. No Monty Ying ban, as predicted by Gabe, but a Monty ban, I think, was a necessity going against Shopify Rebellion. And the Capital following up, I mean, Ollie, it's an operator, of course we see a lot, but an operator I feel like we see Shopify Rebellion in particular make a lot of use of, so I have no issues with their attacking bans.
Yeah, I think that, you can't really go wrong beyond the Monty, can you? You've got to pick the Monty, and it's going to be the Capital, it's going to be the Ying, it's going to be the Bees, it's going to be something along those lines for the next two. But the key one is and always will be the Monty. And it's almost a bit of a meme at the moment. The SR know that that's what they're going to be going up against. They know that Monties are likely going to be banned against them, and when they're not, hey, they can have a little bit of fun with it. But it isn't the defining factor for their attacks by any stretch. It doesn't mean that when the Monty is banned, it just automatically means that they lose. They can still work around that, and in some ways it's a blessing because it does leave things open. If you always having a Monty banned against you, then guess what? It means that you've always got other things available for you. And in this round, at least, both Ying and Grim are both going to be played, and both can have severe impact here. Our breach is going to be left to Spoit and not Spoit alone, 4 tin openers. Canadian and Surf this time both rocking those tin openers as well. So, whereas we've seen a bit of a lack of hard breach for a lot of attacking sides so far tonight, it's nice to finally see plenty be brought and a little bit of redundancy. Very quickly, these walls can get opened in toward connector. We can start to work from there. Obviously, that is going to be a key point of ingress here for SR. Those Yings are going to be devastating in such a tight space like connector and electrical.
That really was kind of a hard breaching, fan cannon at the beginning. Just literally every time we cut to somebody, they were placing a hard breach charge, it was detonating. And to your point as well, I mean, going in the Kindles, not only through there, but just in these tight corridors in general, be quite impactful. C4 goes out through one of the very holes opened up by the attack, but doesn't find anything. Ambi in turn got some good information, some good gadgets hacked. Razor Bloom, and actually not quite sure what the other thing was. Might have been I think it was a Denari trap, or I think it was. I'm not entirely sure. Either way, finds a couple things. Blood Drone gets shot, trying to find the Banshee next, but Mike W actually face checking pretty wide on the Malusi right there as Spoit creeping up into the rafters. Loses a lot of health, can't quite land the shots on the Azami. Rexon in with a double kill. Not only trading, but 200% overperformance right there. As both the Azami and the Warden go down, still 1:15 to go, and Surf might be pushing for more with intel directly around the corner. Mike W spotted, finds the next, though he falls. He puts Bino to low HP. Now somebody looking to fill that gap. Who is it? Either Ambi or Rexon, as it's Canadian throwing some Candelas out here, will force Silo back from the doorway into the waiting arms of Ambi. 1v2 now for Bino. He secures the one player downed on Garage, but Shopify Rebellion have control of the other site. 2 Candelas as well, so they can throw these deep, but if Bino lands that pre-fire, that's all it'll be, is what if. Ambi, another one, up 5-2. Shopify Rebellion have not dropped a single round since the start.
I don't know what it is, but I always think it's a devastating duo when it's Ambi and Canadian as the last two alive. Just of all the 2 people to go up against in this entire game, they're the last two people you want to be up against in a 1 versus 2, because you know what's going to happen. Canadian is going to bait, and Ambi is going to get that kill. 9 times out of 10, that is the resulting factor, and it was no different there inside of round 7. Tactical timeout being used really early here in the context of things. We've just had the halfway point, so we've just had the teams able to have that halftime discussion and, you know, a little bit of a debrief on how the first half has gone, but most of the focus is going to be on what they are going to do and how they are going to play for the next 6 rounds for their next half. So to see 1 of 30 use their tactical timeout after just 1 round of their defense is a little bit strange indeed, but there's clearly something that's amiss there. There's clearly something that the coach feels like they need to step in and, you know, straighten something out, because that's not something that we see all the time. We've seen the timeouts used in very weird and wonderful ways here tonight. We had a timeout used in an overtime earlier, which we both agreed was fairly unique and, you know, not something that you do see every day. But for SR, well and truly in the driver's seat at the moment. 5 rounds to 2. And it almost starts to look like it could be a bit of a formality. 1 of 30 came out of the gate absolutely sprinting and did some great work. The first 2 rounds were beautiful siege, but since then, nothing really has been going their way, and they've failed to replicate that same magic.
Yeah, they were definitely, I don't think we're at formality territory yet. I mean, that round still was close. You know, 2 people down at the end, and it was a big 3K from Ambi to get them over the line. But hey, we're not a ways off. We're not too far away from reaching that point. And especially given that this is 1 of 30's map pick, you need to see them lock in after this tactical timeout. Likely a must-win round right here. Not only to just secure our confidence, but I think to get 1 of 30 well and truly back into it. Contrast with Shopify Rebellion, who went 2nd floor to 1st floor. It's the standard rotation people usually think of for 1 of 30. Top floor all the way down to the basement. Bringing a castle to play a little bit of an extension around this middle floor. Likely first minute will be Shopify Rebellion spending time figuring out exactly what the dimensions, what the texture of it is, what the extremity is, and what might be hidden at the core. Taking down the castle barricades early, but I think that'll give Canadian a pretty good idea at, even if he doesn't know all the details, pretty good idea at what the general broad strokes of this defensive setup is going to be.
Yeah, it isn't going to take them long to get a bit of a read to this, is it? A little bit of roam capability, a little bit of disruption, but ultimately it's all going to be about that information game. Spoit, Deimos, Ambi, Snake, Surf, Dokkaebi.
My area's clear.
If there is ever a honking lineup, it's that one. It really is. I mean, it's no surprise they've already got the opening pick. And Ambi's walking down EXO. Even Canadians getting involved. To kill there onto Packer. Might W with a little bit of a response. Ambi just thinking twice. Destroys the barbed wire, but isn't committing fully to the walk down EXO. There is Silo out there on the roam. Very much unaccounted for right now. If he finds some good positioning, could be in with a chance. It's a big problem though. He's available to be tracked on the death marks. If Spoit has a sniff that Alibi is off-site, and there it is. I mean, where else is Alibi going to be? He's likely going to be a dead man walking. At least his location now is known.
Ooh. You can also see SR realizing they know Mike W's up top because of his earlier kill. Now that they've confirmed Alibi's position, Ambi walking down in through EXO with the diffuser. They know that this is a 1v4 on site, and 1 of 30 are none the wiser to this information. Ambi, the smokes completely missed him. Oh, caught on the corner. Unfortunate for Bino. Canadian's just basically giving himself up to Silo as consolation at that point. All the way on the top floor as the round's been lost in the basement. It is 6-2 for Shopify Rebellion, unless, hold on. If he hits that flick, if he hits this shot, I'm willing to hear him out. Okay, I'm willing to hear him out now. 22 seconds remaining. Sprinting downstairs, minimal information, and there is like an entire ocean between these 2 Shopify Rebellion attackers. Seems unlikely he'll win this one. 6-2. Yes, confirmed. Up 4 rounds. Shopify Rebellion, map point on their opponent's pick.
Imagine the confidence that Canadians got knowing the team that he's got alongside him, the team that he brushes shoulders with, and he can die out there on the roam and just be like, yeah, well played, dog, you got your one, you know? And yeah, okay, Ambi falls on EXO stairs, but then still you've got to get through Spoit. Still you've got to get through Rexon. It is just an insurmountable task. And right now it feels as though SR, unfortunately for 1 of 30, are playing with their food. If we went in formality territory yet, we're kind of there now. I mean, just sort of ratting around upstairs while the whole site is in the attacker control. The diffuser's planted and we've still got off-site players. It was a great read from SR. Obviously the information was there, and I kind of joked about the honking lineup being brought, but that's one of the benefits of playing that sort of a lineup. You have just got so much info, and it's so much quicker and more effective than jumping in drones and having someone out of the fight, not gun up, not able to progress and continue to take ground. They got such a great read, and the call was beautiful. Push the site, take the 3 versus 1 or the 4 versus 1, whatever it was, and then just work it out from there. Get that plant down, and that is the win con. 1 of 30. The writing was obviously on the wall for them. They knew what was coming. They'd used that timeout to try and steady the ship, and it hasn't worked. Map point at the moment for SR, and I don't see any signs of them letting it slip.
Seems unlikely, but we'll afford 1 of 30 the chance. Middle floor defense as the final bit of their site rotation. If they get flawless, it'll be the end of their map, 7-2. Another castle barricade setup. Boogie drones and Rotera drones being put to use to break through these exterior points. 1 player spotted on the site. That's not going to be all that surprising. We saw what good work Ambi put that Soliton scanner to last round in the hands of Spoit. I mean, Ambi's good. I don't know which one's scarier, but definitely a threat you don't have to worry about in tandem with the Dokkaebi calls as well. Could have been the end of him right there if that C4 landed, but not today as the defender starts creeping up to the window. Oh my god, slap down. We got 4 people on this Spoit problem, I want to point out, and Surf going for the next, punishing the overcommitment by 1 of 30, though finds himself trapped in the corner. Valkyrie might swing around the corner, yes indeed. Tries to swing on Packer in turn, but Volspor with the double ties things up for 1 of 30.
Credit to 1 of 30, they're really pushing these problems. It isn't just something that they're throwing one body at. They're full committing to dealing with these pesky players that SR are positioning around the map. They've done something to bring it back equal, 3 versus 3. But Spoit and Surf, I mean, Spoit's whole job is to, you know, be on an island and really be that solo player that can just make something happen, make magic happen, especially when he's playing a role like Snake. If he's on the Ace or something like that, different round, it can be a different story, but he's playing Snake here. His job is to be a little bit more solo. His job is to go and make chaos ensue. And he's achieved that. We've lost a C4 in Silo's hands as well in that opening trade. We've still got plenty of denial and plenty of utility as 1 of 30. But the space that SR have gained through that opening exchange can't be ignored. They've managed to get good vertical control, still got the ram, can still look to try and make something happen, and we've got Canadian hanging around here in the bottom of garage.
I'm intrigued. They know about 1. Do they know about both? Or is this guy, no, just flat around the corner? And because Packer's got the shotgun, cannot really trade that. So that's just a kill seeded to Shopify Rebellion. Canadian doesn't even take any control off of it. That is just a freebie. And 7-2 now, much likelier than it was a few seconds ago, but only 20 seconds remaining. And Packer's still got a shotgun. Volsper's got a C4. And SR clearly lacking some information. Canadian face checking as he moves into the site. BP spotted him as well. Can Volsper get an angle with this C4? Sent up through the rafters into, should land in front, takes him down. Packer good with the next. And 1 of 30 with a 1-2 punch at the end will stave off defeat for 1 more round.
There's a bit of a question to me as to what Rexon and Ambi were doing there in that clutch. We got a lot of Canadians POV because obviously they're the one that's got the diffuser. They're the one that's just around the corner from Packer, playing tight as Warden. You've maybe got to ask, you know, what are the other 2 players doing there? Because time was running really low. The plant spot was okay, but it was by no means coverable, and that was demonstrated by the C4 getting thrown up from below. I don't think there was a world or an angle where Canadian could have hopped up onto one of the desks and got the plant down there. It was maybe just a touch passive from SR, and I don't think they realized the power position that they were actually in, and if they'd have pushed maybe a little bit harder for those kills, we would have seen a different outcome there. As it stands, 1 of 30 played it perfectly because they just didn't do anything. They didn't need to overextend. They didn't need to overplay their hand. All started off the back of this aggression. Everybody throwing themselves at taking Spoit down nice and early. The big C4 from Volsper. Puts even more pressure on Packer there as well, because obviously if they're the only one that's just around the corner, they can't swing too early either. They have to really time that push to perfection. Otherwise, you're just leaving your teammate in a 1 versus 2. But it worked out for 1 of 30. it's just one of those questions of can they do it again and again and again to bring it into 6-6 and take us to an overtime, or is there going to be too much variety in the sides here? And I mean, surely SR are going to find one sooner rather than later.
You gotta think so. I mean, 4
5
chances
seconds to
out
go.
of it with, you know, that round just being what broke a 6-round winning streak for the Rebellion on Nighthaven.
Use a bomb.
Feels a bit inevitable, but 1 of 30 by winning that one. Looking to rebut that presumption, try to overcome it with some additional proof. See if it pans out. Back up to the second floor as we run back some of the sites that we saw earlier. Clash being brought out after Mira is taken out by Shopify Rebellion. An inverse of what we saw for the Latter's defense, playing Clash for the first 3, getting it banned. Bino instead hiding it, and now bringing it out once they retry the second floor. Some tools to deal with it, though, as the Rebellions have clearly, I would assume, spotted it. No other reason really to bring the Cali, especially if you also have a Thatcher to deal with any potential breach denial. So Canadian with some kind of solution, bringing that sniper rifle to knock first shield back. See how effective it is. The kind of thing where you're like, oh, I have a direct counter. Ooh, actually, Bino walking right in front of that breach only takes a little bit of damage, but he's now aware that Canadian is not playing around with this Clash.
Oh, I mean, if there's one person that's going to know the weakness of the Clash, it's Canadian, right? You know, it's just how capable his team are as well. It's like there is a little bit of a worry that the wall is getting tricked there, instead of just going to try and... Oh, it did open. It just didn't open the soft. Okay, so
okay.
Ingenuity is the name of the game here, and SR are just dealing with that in their stride. I don't think they even blinked there, really, and just like, yep, okay, the wall didn't open entirely. We'll just get rid of the soft wall. Fantastic stuff. Spoit, in his prime position, loves a little walk up these catwalk stairs, and typically needs a bit of support coming in from catwalk door as well. That historically has been Rexon. Rexon with the lion scan and likely turning his attention that way as well. But this time dealt with. Vulsper had a brilliant read, and Spoit was kind of nowhere to be seen.
Just taking brilliant initiative, swing ahead of the flash right there. Always catches people off guard. Just a really smart move. And now when he dips back into the side, as you said, Spoit not able to pick up not only a kill, but any kind of damage on that Azami. I mean, what do the Rebellion have to kind of break through this? They have the Selma charges on the garage wall. That'll give them not only a direct way to enter, but also an angle from which Spoit can take a fight against some of those players on the inside. But Clash is kind of nestled in the heart of this. I don't know if you're going to be able to find anything with the Cali. Ambi flanking on the backside, catches one on Aqua, catches another down below. Him and Canadian both good for it. That might just be what they needed. One dealt with up top, one on bottom. Spoit finally getting one in garage too. It seemed like 1 of 30 might have the upper hand, and Shopify Rebellion slapping them down in garage. Even the Clash not long for this world. Opening death into a full-blown victory, 7-3 on their opponent's pick.
They were early adopters, and they are pretty good at it. They've played it a good portion. It is their 4th preference map. Obviously, we've not got much recent data on it, but if we cast our minds back a little bit further, we can think back to, you know, back in sort of stage 2 last year, where this was a firm favorite, and you don't have to go too far to know that it is their first preference map. Banned against them 13 times. I think that just speaks to how, you know, how much of a formidable force they really were on this map, or are on this map. It's just not one that we've seen them play recently inside of Kickoff. But as we all know, Kickoff is a fairly small sample size, but isn't all to be trusted. 1 of 30 on the flip side. Again, echoing what Lax and Fox were both saying on the desk. Another big map. Is this going to be somewhere that they equally, you know, start to fall apart a little bit, because they do need a little bit more hand-holding through those motions? Looking at the bans, a Monty and a Glaz removed on that attack. And unfortunately for 1 of 30, we do have a player leave the lobby. Now, this happened a couple of days ago, Lynx, and it spiraled into a whole heap of issues. Now, surely, it isn't going to be too bad now. It is my W that dropped, and given that we can see their camera, I'm going to assume that their internet hasn't gone down just yet, because we need an internet to broadcast a camera. So hopefully we can just get them back into the game nice and quickly and get underway with things. It was Bino the other day that was the one plagued with net issues, and 1 of 30 really wanting to forget that day ever happened, I'm sure.
So yeah, thankfully, doesn't appear to be the nowhere near the exact same situation we have with Bino. Obviously, you know, not going to foreshadow it. never want to risk jinxing a lengthy tech delay into existence, but I think we should be fine. Mike W hopefully getting back in the game momentarily. I also like that you said a couple days ago. You mean yesterday. It was yesterday when that happened. It feels like ages,
wasn't it?
It feels like ages ago. It feels like years ago. It feels like I aged 5 years, but it actually was barely even 24 hours ago.
The problem is I've been on like a really weird schedule of like up until 5 a.m. but still trying to be a functioning adult and like not rot in bed all day. So trying to get up for like 11, 12, something like that. And the days are really starting to blur. I went to the supermarket today and it was like an out of body experience.
How?
Because I was just looking around at all the like air quotes normal people that were just going about their business, and I'm just like, my brain was just going a million billion miles an hour, and I was just like, I'm just too tired. I'm not like a fit member of society right now.
To be fair, I also did not sleep very well last night, and I was not in the supermarket, but I was just in class, and I'm sitting there, and I'm just like, am I real? Like, you ever just have that moment where like you're so tired, you just look around, and you just look around, and you're like, is any of this real? You know what I mean?
You're in the Matrix.
That's what I'm, like. It feels that way. Like, it genuinely feels that way sometimes. It's like, and not like a break from reality way. It's just like you look around and it just doesn't. But anyway, but yes, I've been there. By the way, Ollie and I were not. Well, I mean, Ollie's up late because of his schedule. I was not up late because of the tech delay. We were on the first game, so not a direct cause and effect. That was entirely a self-inflicted wound on my part. So,
I was going to say you're in the home time zone for this.
Yeah, it was entirely my bad. It was entirely my bad. It was entirely my bad. So, just to be clear, don't want to put that on anybody except myself. I'm an adult. We take responsibility. We take responsibility for our behaviors, take responsibility for our actions. Just like I hope Mike W is taking responsibility and getting back in the lobby, because I want to see what's going on. I'm very excited to see what happens on map 2. Oh, apparently he crashed a second time. Huge for the program. Big W. Big W, yeah. Mike W.
Mike W, Big W, all the W's. Except 1 of 30 didn't get a W in map 1. And...
Aw, that was mean.
Well, I mean, it's true.
It is true. It's empirically true. We saw it.
I believe that there is a file verification going on here. I don't know if that's like a sort of self-inflicted file verification that they want to try and do, just to make sure everything goes good, but... It's going to be one of those occasions where they load in like all the skins have been reset or something like that as well.
I do appreciate that because of his glasses, we actually can see what the progress is on his computer screen.
You can see progress.
I mean, like, I mean, like, in broad strokes, like, just like I can watch the plot in Opera, like, I can see what's happening on his glasses. Like, I can't tell you exactly what's happening, but I follow the broad strokes. Like, right now, game is clearly not open.
You think?
Well, all right, man. Like, I'm just... Listen, it's not easy, okay? It's not easy coming up with bits, okay? When we're in these tech delays. Nothing's happened on this map, Ollie. Nothing's happened. I'm trying to keep it going, okay? Life is like rhythm. You got to keep up with the changes, okay? It's like jazz. It's all improv. And I'm just sitting here trying to do that, trying to make it happen.
Sat here trying to be Sherlock Holmes. Am I Dr. Watson in that sort of world?
Unfortunately... And I really hate to make this comparison. I think if I am Sherlock Holmes, I might be the Benedict Cumberbatch version because I talk really fast, and that really bothers me because I hate that show.
Now, that's the TV show, right?
Yes, that was the BBC
film.
one with, because the film was with Robert Downey Jr. The show was with Benedict Cumberbatch, Martin Freeman.
Yeah.
No, Martin Freeman, yeah.
Bilbo Baggins.
Yes, Bilbo Baggins. And then Andrew Scott as Moriarty.
Yeah, I'm really mixed on Andrew Scott, I'll be honest.
Really? Because I quite like his filmography of late.
I'm very mixed. I think they play a great baddie.
I will give you that.
Good villain.
You actually
and for anyone that's like thinking baddie is in what? No, baddie is in like bad guy in a film. You know, I realized when I said that, I'm like, we're probably talking to an audience where baddie means something different.
Well, actually, I'm curious. So when you say baddie in a film, like, what are you referring to? What's he played a villain in?
Well, he was the villain in Sherlock.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were referring to like an additional example on top of that because he's good in that show. But
I'm pretty sure that there've been something else that was where they play the bad guy. They usually always play like a bad boy, bad guy sort of vibe, don't they?
I was, oh my god, literally in my ears, I was about to say it. All of Us Strangers, great movie, him and Paul Mescal, fantastic film. Andrew Scott, also supporting character in Blue Moon, which Ethan Hawke was nominated for best actor. Great movie, highly recommend it. He, in that movie, Andrew Scott plays, Roger Hammerstein. Wait, no, Will Rogers. I think it's his first name. Either way, he plays the Rogers part of Rogers and Hammerstein. He's good. He plays the kind of friend that's like, why do you keep ruining your life? Can you please just do me a solid? And you really feel for him because like you want Ethan Hawke to get his stuff together, and you just know he won't. You just know he won't.
Apparently, Andrew Scott played in Spectre and played a character called C. I assume that C is
I
like
have no idea what you're talking about.
James Bond. Doom diddling doom 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 diddling doom.
Wait,
You know?
what did you? Wait, in what movie?
Spectre.
Oh, I haven't seen Spectre.
Well, they
I've
played
seen,
C, which I guess is like an extension of like M and all those other like secret agent
M,
type.
Q.
Yeah.
You know, actually, you know who is good? You know who I do really like in those James Bond movies? Ben Whishaw as Q is very good. I really like him.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. Sorry, everyone. We've just gone like mega deep on films, and I don't even really know how we got there. We started talking about Sherlock Holmes, but because we were trying to figure out why Mike W was not in the lob. We've been told that it is momentary, that they will be able to rejoin the game. I feel out of the loop because I think I've seen nearly every player with some sort of chewing gum, and I don't think I've had chewing gum in about 10 years. So maybe that's something that we need to get ourselves. But hopefully we can get into the lobby. Everybody knows that zip. Everybody knows the Ubisoft zip little cutscene as you enter into the game. All we've got to do now is get him into the lob and we will be underway. Once again, thank you for bearing with us as we flap our gums and just fill a little bit of space here ahead of this next matchup. But nothing's really happened yet here inside of map 2. Map 1 is firmly in the history books for Shopify Rebellion. And they are going to be looking to make it a clean 2-0 in this series, I'm sure, to cement their position at Salt Lake.
You comfortable making that prediction right now?
No, I said that they
question.
are looking
No,
to
it's
cement the 2-0.
Oh, they... Oh, okay, gotcha.
I will also make the prediction.
Sorry, I misinterpreted, but you're right. That's a perfectly valid interpretation of what you said. I mean, certainly they are looking to it. I think, making that prediction would also be fair. It is Lair. At least a map we associate quite heavily with Shopify Rebellion. But, of course, at the same time, talking about maps that were on the first day of the NAL. This was actually the same thing here. Shopify Rebellion played 1 of 30, and while 1 of 30 lost, it was an 8-7, very close game. Though, we don't at least have the fun part like we had last game. That was on Clubhouse, not Lair, so it's just more kind of like... It's more kind of cool than anything.
It's happenstance.
It's happenstance. It always kind of sucks as well. When whenever you're trying to think of narratives for the game and you see something as a caster and you're doing your prep, where you're like, oh, that is almost so cool, and I want to bring it up so bad, but it's just because it's a different map, it's just oh well, that's a funny coincidence. It's happenstance, like you said, but it's just oh well, not supposed to be thought. Speaking of cool though, back in the game. Look at that. No break. No break even needed. How about that? How you like them apples?
It's what we like to hear. It's what we like to spawn back into Lair to hear, is a Tachanka just ripping open a rotate.
It's really, I mean, it honestly would not be Lair if we didn't hear that. Really
It's going to be Bino rocking that Tachanka. He would be forgiven for thinking it would be NJR, given how often they like to play. even in a game where he's not even present. It could just be NJR, you never know. You've got to watch out for that.
Also, I mean, I think we gotta, how do I phrase this? I think we got to call out 1 of 30 a bit right here, because Tachanka, Goyo, and Smoke is profoundly boring. Profoundly boring operator lineup right now. Perfect, strategically, tactically, brilliant, sound, great for the site. That being said, they are literally, no fun is going to be had in this round. They are denying every bit of space around the site. Nothing is happening. That being said, Shopify Rebellion, the heroes for just this round. Amaru and Blitz trying to pick things up. Ooh, and Ying and Sens as well. Just for now, just for chaos, just for fun. I'm very intrigued to see what this operator lineup can do.
I mean, we've already seen a jobless round from SR, right? So they played like Snake, Deimos, and
That's true, actually.
So I think they're owed one
That's
up.
a good point.
Yeah,
that's fair.
They're different map, but I think they still need to get one over. It's interesting, though. The Monty, of course, getting banned out is no real surprise. Canadian will be forced onto another shield this time. Sometimes when we see the Monty removed, no shield is played whatsoever. Other times, bang, a shield. He's just shanked Packer right in the face. 2 kills as he moves through. Spoit and Wrexham both adding on to that pain. My W, I bet he wish he was still trying to load in. He's left in a 1 versus 4 very quickly. Does get the trade, but it matters not. As SR move very quickly through round number 1. A brilliant execute. A lot of different moving parts working together at the same time, but I mean, the highlight has to be Ambi flying through the hatch.
I've never really seen the Rainbow Six equivalent of just a guy getting dunked on, quite like that second guy who got killed. Like, obviously, the guy getting stabbed in the face, like, just right as Ambi goes up the hatch, is, like, 1, funny, 2, crazy. But here, hold on. So, like, you have this. That's crazy, just bad timing. Like, right here. That is insane. And goes to our point earlier about, like, I mean, you look at this roster and, like, even on with Spoit on it, if you're thinking who might be the scariest player, at times, it is unequivocally Ambi.
Oh, without a doubt. I think, for me, yeah, Ambi is the scariest player on the... But it's because of the role that they play, right? They get given so much more space than I think Spoit gets. Often Spoit will find himself on more of a flex role, whereas Ambi typically finds himself more out-and-out frag-orientated. So... Whereas you sometimes see Spoit on the ace, and sometimes see him picking up these, you know, sort of more supportive roles, but still in a fragging capacity. Ambi is just often out and out that dog off a leash sort of vibe, and he can be let to just do things like that to Amaru up a hatch. This time we're playing the Ram, so he will be a little bit more confined and have a bit more of a job to do. But once those boogie drones are thrown, all bets are off.
Yeah, another operator as well that you talked about, like kind of in the area of like your hard breachers, but specifically Ace, your Ram. Operators that you're usually going to either use your utility towards the beginning or do it all in kind of one fell swoop. So that way after you have a clear time to just be a gun. Just be somebody that can see if there's any gaps, play off the information you gather, be at the direction of your IGL. Spoit can be in a similar position as you said with Ace, but oftentimes Ambi is given that leash in, especially with the added benefit of the boogie drones, being able to break down those barricades. Can find a bit of initiative if possible. Boogie drone will not only open up some vertical, but cover the sound as Ambi walks down those stairs, as he's looking to get a line on both this Goyo and the Clash. While Packer might pick up one, Rebellion have the better positioning right now, as the Clash loses a lot of HP to the fire, Volsper down in the process, and I think the Clash is still kind of pinched in that area. Not entirely sure. No, Bino has been able to back up. It's a full 4v4, but with Bino and Packer on low HP, the Rebellion are feeling very good about this first minute and a half.
Loading new mag.
Well, pocket reinforcement for Packer just to try and give himself a bit of surety inside a missile. Lack of hard breach, or at least only 2 Selmas, it could be a bit of a problem there for SR. Silo, quite a deep roam as well here. Likely finds a freebie. Surf, entirely unaware of his position. And of course, the benefit of the Scopos here is that Silo can just make that rotation back to site, swapping between those shields. For now, an advantage here for SR. Sorry, for 1 of 30 as SR do try and push through, but Mike W, look at his position here, really tucked in. Isn't going to miss that shot onto Canadian or the second. Oh, say again, Ambi. He's going to manage to find the head. Half HP, but still gets the job done.
A lot more work to do. Not the 4v4 we had at the beginning. Bino and Packer have been on low HP for a while, but they are still alive. They have weathered the storm. Silo can also swap positions if possible. Ambi with it the next, though. That man just hunted down the Scopos, running up the staircase, finding him and falling back. But how are they going to deal with Bino? Got the flashbangs, but nothing to knock back that shield. I better hope Packer swings, but with the diffuser, If I want anybody covering me, getting this defuse plan down, I want it to be Ambi. Flashbangs go out as Rexon begins. Already halfway there. Staving it off, but the player's got to fall back. Bino walking all the way up will plant the shield. Rexon in a tricky spot. Ambi's still good for it, though. He's got to cover it as Bino pre-fires around the corner. He lights them up. Gets them both. Only so much Ambi can do if that were anybody but a Clash. That's a 4K for Ambi and Shopify Rebellion's round. But that is not what happened today.
Bino there with a brilliant play on the Clash. Again, you can't overplay your hand there when you're in that position. You don't want to plant the shield too early. You don't want to give any space. You've got to keep things tight. He had a great position on Rexon and was able to just continue to harass him. Silo, for me, a little bit of an unsung hero in that round. Obviously, he gets that kill out there on the roam. He gets back to site, still able to impact things. And it was the one-man show of Ambi really just trying his best to do everything, but couldn't find that final kill. Real unfortunate stuff there. Rexon not really left with many options. We're deep into red time at that point. 130 are able to get one on the board themselves. Switching over now into the mid floor. They're going to be defending downstairs inside of bunks. No shield, at least for the meantime, on that attacker side, and the Clash has been put to bed for round number 3 as well.
And possibility might be put to bed for the rest of this half, depending on what the Rebellion decide to ban after round 3. We'll see. A zombie would also be a good ban. Brought a lot on R6 room, of course, and also clearly a facet of 1 of 30's defense right here. So actually, I don't think, in hindsight, I don't think they actually brought it to be a zombie on top floor because you had so much investment in the fire for Tachanka and Goya, and then the smoke as well. So I don't think there was actually real estate space for it. Mike W on the Solus, though. Common pick for this site. Allows you to play the vertical. Bit more freedom to roam, because your gadget, while actively used, is not the kind of thing you necessarily need to stay alive to the late round, unless your win conditions the post plant. We can already see some kind of plan here. Exothermic at the breach. Is Canadian just waiting? No, they're going for the plant. Smoke canister going down. One player around the corner. No warden to speak of. Oh, the Candela's through. Just Dome was packed around the gate. It's actually 1 of 30 to get the first pick, though, but as they move from behind, oh, he's got no idea. We've seen, I think, the Rebellion basically run something like this strat quite a few times before. You throw the Candelas up top to facilitate a plant below, and at least the last time I saw it, it worked out wonderfully, and it seems it'll result in a round win here. Only a 4v4, but Ambi's got that Soliton scanner to get any late information. You've got, of course, the 3 guns alive as well, beyond Canadian on that blitz. Forcing Mike W out of position was key to get that defuse plant down. Even though 1 of 30 have an advantage, only 8 seconds remaining until it's over, and it just does not seem likely they're making their way through. Keep the barriers out, though. Only 1 second to get on. Somebody's got to land it. It's going to be close, but with Mike W falling, that'll be the Rebellion with the lead.
Ambi gets downed and finished off, but it is only a blemish on the KD. An otherwise flawlessly executed round from SR. Again, as you mentioned, Lynx, it's a tale as old as time, isn't it, that bomb site? Do you go direct? Do you push the top floor? Or do you go for a little bit of a hybrid like the Rebellion do, where they flood the top floor with utility? Solus or not, that plant went down. Mike W on the Solus, unable to get into the scanner, unable to really see to be able to operate and do anything. The pressure upstairs, just sufficient enough to keep them off the boil. And it's forced out the Ying ban there from 1 of 30 as well. There's a couple of things that you could choose to get to remove there. I mean, you maybe could have even chosen the blitz, but the Ying just being such a deadly force for multiple bomb sites here, it's always going to be a problem. Spoit holding from the outside. It's, again, a good example of one of those rounds where Spoit finds himself in much more of a flexible support role, where he's on the thermite and he's outside holding the post plant there. But who else would you want on that gun to hit that shot? It's a critical shot to hit, right? You need one of your best on it, so they're going to be picking up that job every single day of the week. Back to the top floor we go then. Rebellion successful in that mid floor, and 1 of 30 not wanting to reattempt that. They need a little bit of time to mull it over before they're going to go back downstairs into that mid floor.
With the Ying gone, that is like literally like the tool that makes the Shopify Rebellion bunks briefing attack work. So there will have to be, a bit more thought put into it. I'm sure the Rebellion's anticipated, but it is an impactful ban for that site in particular, against this team in particular. For our 6 room, though, I mean, the Candelas were nice. They were important, but Ambi Amaruing up a hatch kind of had a lot to do with the success the Rebellion had in that round as well. He'll be on the Deimos this go-around, so still vertical presence, but instead of going up through the hatch, it'll be bullets. He'll try to send up through the floor to find anybody on that second. As it appears, I think all 5 defenders are on that top floor at the moment. No, never mind. Packer on Scopos is all the way in the depths, in the bowels of Lair. Can, of course, recall all the way back to site, but the advantage you get with the Scopos, you see if anybody spots him, and see how well the Rebellion's intel gathering game actually is.
Death mark on
the
the way.
Goyo, the first marked by the death mark tracker. He's on site. We're not too concerned about that. See what's in store for Packer as he creeps his way further.
I'm going to be prowling here at the bottom of Rocket Door. He's got a full wealth of defenders to track on that death mark, and likely will want to get himself in below. We'll need to do a little bit of drone work and, again, perform one of those self-sufficient roles that he can do. Drone himself in, although he gets to the top of rocket stairs, and it looks like he's just going to go straight in. I thought he would play the vert from below, but kind of fancying himself challenging onto the bomb site right now. Mike W takes a lick of damage there. Ambi does get away unscathed. And just further set up here, the Scopos that is going to be the first target. With Surf on Snake just outside the display window hopping. Ambi's getting tons of value here, just clearing out bits and bobs of site utility.
Now put pressure on top rockets, gonna keep the defense at bay. He spotted Packers offside as well, so they know it's a 5v4 on the actual site. Nate unfortunately gets zapped by an ADS, but they know they have a numbers advantage, so you can see the gears turning. Where can they place this utility to maximize the impact? Canadian firing a shot of annoyance at the BP. The Bs go out. They will also clear the position behind the desk. Dude, Ambi's doing literally the most right now for the utility clear on site. That's actually crazy. Going down below as well. Oh, what an angle! Through the floor. Ambi might fight back. That is a brilliant play by Packer. A good 1-for-1. But Volsper down as well. Odds gonna fall onto not only Bino with only 1 smoke canister remaining, but even Mike W with that shotgun, maybe to control the avenue around bathroom. Rebellion will pause very briefly as Canadian puts this diffuser down. Ambi quite a ways out of position. Maybe going for a backstab with 30 seconds remaining. They've got the time to make this work, and with the offside presence dealt with, he can get his way into position. Don't have a lot of time, but maybe just enough to add another angle to distract the defense. And the Jaeger pushes deep, catches 1 player prone, but not enough to stop that diffuse plant. Canadian sends us into the post. Mike W taking the 1v1 in garage, aiming at the right head level, but doesn't commit to the fight. Instead takes the next, and it's Spoit not long for this world. Him and Bino now tag up for the duel around operations. But Bino takes the 1v1 early, and Canadian gets the better of him. IGL on IGL violence on R6 room. Well, actually, no, that's not Bino's role, but you get what I'm saying. Mike W, now also dead. Rebellion continuing their lead, now up to 2 rounds wide.
I'm absolutely shocked how much space Ambi was given in that round. Was able to walk straight up Rocket. No barbed wire, no Banshee, no Thor, no Ella. Nothing to stop him from just walking right up. Okay, great, you've got a couple of Vulcan packs played at the top, and they just allowed to walk up and shoot him in the first, what, 20, 30, 40 seconds of the round? Not only that, was able then to rotate from top mez and go all the way around to the other side to then start to perform a little bit of a backstab. He can then, you know, flex that Deimos scanner. There's so many different avenues.
This back from the brink, even misses the shot on the Vulcan. Insult to injury to try and effectuate this counter defuse. Will go around the reinforcement. What can these players find? Halfway to go as he tries to get the vertical angle, fire some shots in turn. C4 to try and land on Ambi, but no, falls to the FMG9 instead. A beautiful recovery by Ambi and Surf, and the Rebellion lives on.
So one of the more powerful things about this roster is that there is a lot of potential top through bottom. Canadian won't be entirely happy with the strategy there, I'm sure. But a clutch is a clutch. And sometimes you've just got to pull it out of the bag.
Run it back. I want to see it again. Like, that is crazy. That actually scared me. That genuinely scared me.
You caught like 2 people just like mid-animation, like reloading, getting out of a gadget, whatever it might have been.
Like, he turned around and I just saw the Echo sitting there. I genuinely got frightened. I've not had anything quite like that on the cast before. It was weird.
Little jump scare.
I like actually, like kind of, like not a crazy one, but definitely like a little bit of one. 4-2 half guarantee now for Shopify Rebellion. Going back to Bunk's briefing, we talked about the ramifications of the Ying ban for this site a few rounds ago. Now you will see how that actually manifests, because as we talked about, Ying is very important for Shopify Rebellion's normal strategy on this site. We throw the Candelas on the top floor to execute down below. Well, now there's no Ying. So there's nothing you can really replicate with the kind of chaos the Ying can bring. Like, sure, you got the Grim in terms of surface area you can cover, but not really doing the same thing, and I don't think I really need to justify that point a whole lot. We'll see what the new strategy is. Could be a bit looser. Rexon already trying to hollow out a lot of the site and get this utility. I don't think it's a bad call. Like, I don't know exactly how it's going to help, but given that there's basically always 0 people, maybe 1 inside of the site, just not a bad strategy. You're probably going to get a lot of this for free, and that's, I think, self-evident at this point. Oh. Oh, no.
Not ideal, but we move. Rexon, it's an incredible amount of value on those boogie drones, but it would be a shame to spend all round in the drone and then not know that Packet is just the other side of Rocket Door. And I don't think he's got a single clue. There's Mike W to pick up the opening kill, playing in a nice conjoined way, but Canadian will be there for the trade. It isn't going to be long-lived though, as an advantage is snatched right back here by 1 of 30. Nice close-up engagement from Silo. Putting that little super shorty to great work. We were worried about the lack of a Ying, and we were worried about what that would mean, and it looks like it's meant shotguns at close corners here, but Packer somehow manages to lose that engagement. That's must-win from Silo, and he fluffs it. Spoit comes in with 1 onto Vulsper, and Bino's left there sitting. Hang on a minute. Guys, we're in a 4 versus 3 a minute ago. All right, you've softened 2 of them up, but you've left me a lot of work to do in 1 minute and 10.
Man, you start throwing these toxic canisters every which way. Oh, direct information on him, too. It does not get much worse than that. He'll drop down to try to stave off this plant. But even some vertical angles going against him. You do not envy Bino's position right here. He's got the right idea. Looking outside of the breach where there is a 1v1. Hello! Gets surfed, but that's all she wrote. It is 5-1 for Shopify Rebellion. And we're winning rounds like rounds 5 and 6. 1 of 30 do not look long for this world.
Big round recovery there from SR. Let's see what our desk has to say about the first 6.
Thanks, X. We've got a lot to talk about, so we're going to dive right into it. Laxing, round number 2. What stood out to you?
I mean, they're comfortable on this map, clear on their attack. This is not the first time that we've seen Ambi come up that exact hatch in R6 room and absolutely annihilate and take away the round. I mean, it was unbelievable to just see that display from this team. But again, on their attacks, they're so precise and structured of how they're going for the execute. I mean, it was really well thought out through and through each and every single one of these attacking rounds that we're going to see. I mean, this was a great play from Bino to be able to clutch that round, but then we pivot into the next round immediately. They understand they don't have to go for the vertical pressure here. They can just go in, use this blitz, take control, smoke it off, keep throwing Candelas in, blinding the players up top, and inevitably just play this post plant so well. And again, it just illustrates how well they are on their attacks and these setups if they're able to go for these executes.
I mean, if there's a team that you want to be focused on the execute with, it's going to be SR. Canadian, when he is IGLing, when he's making adaptive calls on how to get the diffuser down, where to position his team, he does it exceptionally well.
This round is
this round was just heartbreaking for 1 of 30 at the fact that they were in a 2v4 and they just play it back and forth, surf with some beautiful shots. I mean, it was just so well played from them to be able to bring it back, and that breaks the spirits. I mean, you're on defense, Lair, you're going 1 and 5, and you're getting clutched up on in a 2v4 situation. Not only do you have to go through the gauntlet to be able to bring it back, but your spirits just aren't in it after a loss like that.
And you have to think about the pressure of these players on 1 of 30. You're so close, tantalizingly close from making your first event. And even in that last round, we talk about it being heartbreaking. That could be a round that could lift up the spirits. We get the man advantage. We're looking good. We can carry that into the half. But no, Surf immediately shuts it down with that flank, that drop through, getting those 3 big kills. I mean, it is looking devastating for 1 of 30.
Yeah, we like to come in at the half, and often we're saying, oh, it could go either way. You know, the second half is unpredictable. So right now, unless anything dramatic changes, Shopify Rebellion may just, well, run away with this one. Lynx, XR Troika, back to you.
I mean, if you're a 1 of 30 fan and you're hoping that like Ollie and I are gonna come on this cast and like make you start believing again, it's just not gonna happen, Ollie. I just don't think it's gonna happen. When you see rounds like that, like rounds 5 and 6 from Shopify Rebellion with what, a 2v5 into like a 3v5, the case makes itself, doesn't it?
Listen, I love contradicting the desk and having a little bit of back and forth and having a different opinion as much as the next caster desk combination. However, I'm in agreement. And I think we can only judge it off the siege that we've seen. We have got to be mindful of that. You've got to give SR the credit where the credit is due. And for 1 of 30, based off what we've seen up until this point, it just doesn't look like it's their time. That doesn't mean that they're not playing great siege. They're just coming up against a better opponent here today. And that was always going to happen when you've got teams like DZ, teams like SR inside of this lower bracket. And it's what makes it even more exciting that we've sent teams like 5 Fears through to the major, because, you know, it does happen. It just can't happen for every single one of our up-and-coming teams inside of NAL. We have to, you know, there's only a limited amount of spots. It might be an NA major, but there's still only 4 spots that NA are able to take. So they're the kind of cards we've dealt. That's the game we are here to play. And for SR, they are going to be looking to play 2 more rounds of this game and then get out of here. Lock it down, get it done, get it dusted, and get themselves in with some nice R&R before we start off with the Salt Lake City Major. For 1 of 30, it is now time to dig deep. It is now time to show us exactly what you are worth and what you are made of. But attacks on Lair against this lineup in this economy, ooh, it ain't going to be easy. One thing that might make it a little bit easier for them is the Deimos and the snake removal. I always like to preference this when it happens, because when new operators get banned out, and Deimos and Snake, 2 very new operators, it really does open up the playing field, because you get given all of the toys that you've been playing Siege with for the last 12 months, 18 months that have usually always been banned. So you have everything available. You've got a Blitz, you've got Bees, you've got Capsai, you've got Ying, you've got all those things to play with. So yeah, they might lack a little bit in information compared to meta Siege at the moment, but they do still have a fighting chance here with the bans that have been put in front of them. Couple that with the fact they've removed both of the denial bans, they've removed both the Cade and the Bandit. In the walls open, it shouldn't be a big problem at all. Packer below, looking to make impact with that skeleton key, and make the site a bit more of an uncomfortable place, and maybe, just maybe, help deal with Canadian on that clash.
Well, and that's exactly what I was going to say, because, you know, not to push back a little bit, because you are correct. I mean, actually, not pushing back in anything that you said is that I disagree with. I just think if you ban the Deimos and the Snake, you know Bino's going to run the shield. It's something that 1 of 30 love to do. So if you have that controlled variable, what can you do in response? Bring the clash. And so that is also why dealing with it is so important for 1 of 30, because you know Canadian's going to bring it, but also you know it's meant to deal exactly with that Blitz. And you can see a lot of investment placed on that exact thing. It's Canadian the next to fall, and that's what we needed to see. Might take a minute, 50 seconds, but 1 of 30 get a man advantage. They take down the clash, and the Blitz has made it through unscathed. Packer's still down below to get some good work and some good vertical destruction. One of the strongest rounds and strongest beginnings we've seen of 1 of 30 in quite a long time. So now they'll continue with the breaches, try to gain some remaining information. As they send those drones in with players around the corner, Spoit starts fighting back. That's only 1. Just Volsper. So they'll throw down some smokes. They'll block off those angles as the flashes go in. See the Blitz make it through? Yes, we will, though. Losing some HP in the process, but still okay. It's now in here things start getting tricky. Bino's blinded in the middle of a 3-way crossfire. Silo and Packer can provide some support, but the initial entry hasn't worked. So Bino pushes deep. Silo's got 1 angle covered, and does Packer have the other? Watching all of these positions as the defense moves through. Silo, ends up falling. Packer gets the next, but around the corner, Rexon spots 1. Impact grenade goes out. It's a shoddy engagement, but Bino gets them both. Long way to go, but 4 just became 3. And 1 of 30 start off their attacks on the right foot.
I'm probably sat there as SR wishing I'd banned the Blitz. I'm not going to lie. That was the win con. And it's like I say, you ban new operators, you ban trendy things, you ban information. and you're always going to leave something open. And if the team that you're playing against, in this case 1 of 30, can make use of what is left open, the results are there to be taken for themselves. The Blitz perfectly pushing through, really opening up that round. You got to feel a bit sorry for Surf. I think that they got caught super unfortunate. Launch, it's one of the reasons. In fact, I know this because recently I did a play day with Demo, and we always used to have this big argument because I like Tachanka and Demo hates Tachanka. And his reasoning by it is because you're either in your launcher or you're in your gun. Whereas the smoke canister is very much just like thrown and then you're immediately back into your gun. And you can get caught in your launch. And I was like, yeah, but it never happens. It never happens. It never happens. I've now seen it happen. And it is a little bit, it's just not pleasant to look at, is it? Because you know Surf, you know his caliber. He's capable of that engagement every single day of the week. But if he's caught with his launcher in his hand, there's not a lot that they're going to be able to do. Then that was a really unfortunate bit of timing that Surf experienced in the round. But 1 of 30, I mean, they made their own luck, didn't they? They pushed through really aggressively with that blitz. And Bino himself able to get a slew of kills.
Yeah, 2-piece to finish things off. Him and Mike W, the only 2 players positive for 1 of 30 so far. A lot of it talked about Mike W, but also, you know, Bino with the internet issues yesterday. Still having a pretty good performance, all things considered. 1 of 30 overall made a good showing inside of the NA League. I mean, even starting this off, sure, a loss, but a 7-8 loss to Shopify Rebellion on the first day. The rookies came to play in Stage 1, as has kind of been a running theme of NAL the past few years. You know, Beast Coast a couple years ago, Wildcard last year, though. Wildcard being the rookies, it's a bit of a stretch of the definition, but you kind of get what I'm generally getting at. For 5 years, 1 of 30. 2 teams that have both impressed quite a bit. Still down 2-5. It started things off very well without attack, and let's see how they can handle this Bunk's briefing defense. Solus up top. This is a very standard setup. Got 3 defenders moving around this top floor. We're gonna use the Specchio scanner to play for the retake from above. Zami also now joining the mix as well. They're playing over by the stairs at the moment. And Silo has made his way up very deep. He's going out as well. But no defender biting as of yet. He's actually kind of warding them off, telegraphing where this Dokkaebi is pushing from. Ooh, Rexon stopped in a difficult spot. But a clean little pre-fire and quick peek will knock Volsper out of the battle. Prim, the opening pick 2 rounds in a row. That's very important utility that 1 of 30 have just not had access to. But they're bringing a huge force to bear on this top floor. The Selma's going out. A Dokkaebi call joining to gather more information. But Shopify Rebellion getting more picks. Spoit, Surf, all getting involved. The lengthy pre-fire gets Spoit second. And Packer with smokes to aid him has 3 kills to find. Yeah, made a 3.0 KD at the moment. Not even really relevant to what might happen in this final minute, but just goes to show how well things are going for the Rebellion.
Got a feel for Packer in this spot. He's able to pick up the diffuser, but despite how layered the defense was on this top floor and how well SR played around it, they've scattered to the wind. They are not going to give any opportunity over toward Packer of picking up 1 kill on its own. Everyone is going to be in a crossfire. Everyone's going to be tradable. And it really is just a matter of time. Packer can look to maybe try and plant on the side door, but I guess even that is ill-advised. Like ants just scurrying back from wherever they've been hiding. SR retake that top floor and have a brilliant angle directly onto the doorway. And, well, you can't really blame Packer for how that round went. A lot of it was based on how well SR chose to hold on to that top floor. They gave a lot of control away. You know, Ops Room, Rocket Stairs, none of that was really contested for any big period of time. That big kill from Rexon to open things up was obviously, you know, one of the main triggers. But there are just so many different nooks and crannies to hide in up there. You don't need to just either hold it or drop off. There is a halfway house to be found, and there are corners that you can tuck into and just come back out when needed. A brilliant layered defense there from SR, putting them on match and series point.
Yeah, got a nice angle into the Salt Lake City Major. Just 1 more round, assuming no OT. 1 more round will be all that is required. And with Bunk's briefing out of the way, they can now make an attempt of the basement bomb site, I believe. Yes, the basement bomb site. R6 room did not go their way, so they won't try to retry anything that they don't, strictly speaking, need to just yet. We'll go downstairs and are not making it easy for 1 of 30. Gershmots and F-Knots. But they'll have to push through on top of the Clash and then you got Vulcan packs on the site. I mean, it's a kind of a normal amount, Ollie, but even the 6 pieces of barbed wire feel a bit egregious in this lineup. Feels like a bit of overkill.
I mean, even Spoit's not placed one of them down because he's like, look, where do you want me to place it, guys? Finally found a place. Finally managed to squeeze it in. It's not a bad thing, though. I mean, 1 of 30. I've spoken already. Mike W, great space taker. Brilliant at getting in, operating, finding a little bit of room. Any barbed wire is always going to be good. I think it genuinely is one of the more underrated pieces of utility, especially now that it damages players as they try and move through it. Because even sometimes if players on super low HP and they've got no ID, you'll even sometimes see them die to barbed wire, which feels a little bit of a confusing one. It just gives you a couple of extra steps of security. Speaking of security, Canadian upstairs in the armory. Gonna place that shield down and be an absolute nightmare for anyone coming through range. He's got the hatch open as well, so it can drop out at a moment's notice. That's the second drone to go on by him now, and he is not for moving.
Doesn't really need to at this point. Not really facing any pressure. Don't be called means practically nothing to him. Okay, now he needs to move. Now he definitely needs to move. 3 attackers flying in through the doorway. Nade at his feet. So, if there's ever a time to retreat and not push it any farther, is that. Rexon playing over on the blue stairs. Either Vulcan packed or a fire canister popped. Not exactly sure which one, but now the furthest extended player for Shopify Rebellion playing this staircase, not looking to regress all too far. While Silas got an angle on the clash, the way into the site is still very much undetermined.
Yeah, a lot of the sites are open. But fortunately, SR are again able to find those hiding spots, able to evade these angles. Packer trying to hold on through the hatch, but they're not going to give themselves away that easily. We need some horizontal pressure to come out now from 1 of 30. Everything's coming from the top down, and it isn't going to be enough. Packer himself recognizes this and is instead going to try and push his way in through stock. It's a great pick onto Surf despite the FNAT. Maybe that's going to be the opener that 1 of 30 need here in this round.
It's a damn good opener, and he gets hit by a Kershmon. I have no idea what the hell just happened between Volsper and Canadian right there. But a 2v5, I mean, we've seen the Rebellion clutch these before, but I was going to say surely not here. 1 of 30 are waving into the site, just surfing into the A site with this diffuser. Ambi definitely in a bit of a gap, I think. They certainly don't know of his position, but in a 1v4, especially now they've entered the post, he's fired some shots. They know. They're aware. Direct line on his position. Good trade, but that'll be the end of that. 1 of 30 holding on, but if this is going to be a tit-for-tat game, then that means the Rebellion will win it next round. It has to be consistent, and they cannot let up.
That's the unfortunate position that 1 of 30 find himself in. Even after a round win, it isn't time for celebration. It isn't time to get too ahead of themselves. This is their chance at the moment. They need another 3 rounds cleanly before we can even think about map 3 of Clubhouse. Let's see another round of bans come in. I'm not sure where the targets will be. I imagine the Clash will be one of them. Oh no, the Mirror. Okay. I mean, the Clash has been an issue and it hasn't. It's been a little bit 50-50. The Ying ban as well. I guess if you ban the Blitz, maybe the Bino's just going to flex over onto the Blackbeard. He'll just flex onto the Monty. So it's pointless to ban one because they're just going to be forced onto another.
Yeah.
So I understand that. The Mirror's a huge one.
Yeah. Mirror's very, very powerful, can be important. Kind of ironic, we've not really seen a whole lot of it from Shopify Rebellion so far, but again, something they could very easily slot into their lineup. I imagine they have before. And so, with that in mind, Shopify Rebellion are like, all right, well, if you want to ban Mira, we like what you did with that smoke Goyo into Chonka strategy, so totally fine with it. Not worried about it whatsoever. And to your point about not wanting to ban any of the shields, the Ying's obviously great support for any kind of quick execute play you want to do. But if you know that, Bino is just going to go to the Blitz and the Blackbeard, well, you can bring up countermeasures for that. You can bring the Banshees. You can bring some barbed wire. And even then, for a site like second floor, if you know the Blitz is, or the Blackbeard is likely going to be used to put down a plant, bring a whole lot of different options to deny it. Though, of course, 1 of 30 came from the Skybridge side last time, and that is a bit more difficult to deny with the smokes and the Shumikas. But if you can force them into the normal operation side take, that's where this lineup's going to be the most difficult to deal with.
Full straight. Going to be rocket stands this time. Just looking to try and get some doors open toward Ops. Might W up on the roof as well, as Terror drones are going to be crucial. Going to need to try and destroy not only those Keeper barricades, the Vulcan packs, but potentially also some of those Malusi Banshees as well. See, one of the Terror drones is just going to be making its way up those rocket stairs, and that's going to be Packers Q to call. Pushing up aggressively here with a shotgun.
I like this play. Oh, runs straight into Canadian. Rude awakening for the smoke there. Third of that triumvirate we mentioned taken down. Spoit just sitting inside of the ops door, not ready for Bino to swing in from that rappel. That's not only one of your 3 forms of plant denial, that's the main guy you want playing behind the office desk. The Kibos won't be a factor anymore. And denying the plant might be the only win condition remaining for Shopify Rebellion, but given the time, I don't know if that is possible. See what they can do, though, is with half the round to go. 1 of 30 have basically all the control they want, and half the round to figure out how to put this case down.
You can see that Ambi, Rexon, and Surf are all just repositioning now. Again, not wanting to overplay, just gently finding a position that they're going to be happy to try and play in. They know that there's going to be a shield likely bearing down on that plant spot very shortly. Bino, case in hand. 20 Shumikas left for Surf. There is a lot of area denial here. I don't think that can be stressed enough. So this plant is going to be difficult. 1 of 30 have the manpower just to trade off these kills, but I think it's going to go and try and firm the plant. Oh, spot here. This could be perfect.
Oh, they're probably going to win the round anyway. I don't even know if they needed to, but that's just beautiful for 1 of 30. The slightest turnaround, and you know that when 1 of 30 made that call, Bino was feeling real nice as he saw those Shumikas soar over top and land in default where he was not. Great play by 1 of 30. Excellent call. And while there's still 2 rounds to go, I mean, showing that kind of tenacity on the attacking side, got to give them credit for it. And again, it's a small thing. They probably would have won the round anyway, but shows they're taking account of every eventuality, and they are starting to settle into this attacking half. They've won 3 out of the 4 rounds.
Tactical timeout now for SR. An opportunity for Seth to get involved and bring a little bit more stability back to the team. Opening picks been a bit of a problem, particularly in round number 10. Aside from that, Spoit did get the opening pick in round 9. That was also a round that was won by 1 of 30. It isn't always a guarantee. We just need a little bit more togetherness. More awareness for just a walk-in. 1 of 30, I don't know what it is about this team, but they are just great at walking in. Look at Packer here. 2 minutes on the clock, and he's at the top of the rocket stairs, and he has quite literally just walked in. All they've done is destroy the barbed wire with a Rotero drone, but there was no reaction to it from SR. There was no, okay, the barbed wire's gone, someone needs to watch that now. Canadian, to his credit, was making his way over there, and quite possibly just got cut off. But with how quickly Packer took that space, it was always going to be a difficult engagement, especially when he's running sledge shotgun of all things. It's not what you want to turn the corner and see. Shopify Rebellion still on match and series point right now. They've got a couple more opportunities to try and close this out in regulation.
10 seconds to go.
And even then, there is a guarantee of an overtime at the worst. So there's plenty of chance here to close this out, but they're not going to want to let it get too close. They don't want to give 1 of 30 that hope, because if they keep chaining rounds together, they might just find the momentum required.
And off that round as well, which definitely the best performance of 1 of 30 so far. In real danger of it if Shopify Rebellion don't win this round. One of those must win, especially coming out of the tactical timeout, but it's placing the game as well. 6-4 feels a whole lot more doable than 6-5, even though it's just 1 round difference. Funk's briefing. Bino bringing out the Montaigne, a much slower shield than the other 2 we've seen him go with. He's gone with the Blitz and the Black Group, but this time, human drone will move through Skybridge, gather some quick information. Track Stingers for the flank watch. Know that the attack is going to run headfirst into this defense in the top floor. It is inevitable. Even if it's only through verticality, they will have to reckon with it. They'll have to deal with it. And so what will their solution be? As the first Dokubi call goes out, and nobody from the attack really in a position to capitalize off of it.
one of those situations where you find out maybe where people aren't as well as where people are. Somewhere that Ambi is. He's tucked into weapons at the minute. Going to get himself over toward range. Really playing quite a deep roam here. Looks as though Ambi's just been allowed off the leash entirely here with that Mozzie pickup. Playing far and away from his team. He's clearly just looking to play for 1 or 2 kills on that flank as a bit of a distraction.
Special charge, stay clear.
Smokes and exothermic go out. You can see the strategy. Packer looking through, tries to find one, sees Surf just a little bit, meant to ward off that Warden, just to keep him at bay for a couple more seconds. Shots hit the shield, they don't land! Bino takes a bit of damage, but gets out in time. A 5v5 post only favors 1 of 30 as Ambi, his flank nullified. The attack ready for it, the smoke canisters going out. Rebellion starting to lose their grip on this game as the Monty just keeping them at bay on the green stairs. Basically, nobody died in the upstairs defense. And 1 of 30 are fine with it. Canadian finally gets that trade, but with 8 seconds to go, there's not a whole lot that the Rebellion can do. Stopped by the track stingers, it looks like overtime is all but certain as only 1 round separates either Rebellion's ticket being punched or 1 of 30 with another shot.
If you're going to hold upstairs, you've got to be able to deny the plant. Like, you have to be. It's a crucial element of playing the Solace. And you know that there's a Monty available. So you have to account for that. Couple of shots going in. Yeah, you're able to hit the shield, but with the SMG as a secondary, you just haven't got the bullets to really hit that full spray. Brilliant take from 1 of 30. It was so minimal. They just took exactly what they needed and nothing more. The Monty, the Glaz, working together, brilliant combination. I think Silo did such a good job on that flank watch as well. Entirely nullified Ambi because, as we mentioned, Ambi was on a loose roam. His job was just to be that flank watch, and if the flank comes in there, maybe it's a bit more successful, but the flank and the diffuser going down are 2 entirely separate points and are not linked in any which way, so he was always going to have a hard job even if he was able to make his way back. Certainly not panic stations, as it's map 2 in a best of 3, but 1 of 30 have played incredible siege to get to this point. And if they are allowed to continue to just walk on in, then I fear that we will see the same result. Same result that we've seen across the past couple of rounds.
Really feels like the game has slipped out of Shopify Rebellion's grasp at this point. And it might just be the same result that you mentioned, 1 of 30. I mean, now, what is it? I mean, only 3 rounds in a row, but 4 rounds this half. Could be number 5 right here to push us to overtime. And if the mental's not slipping at that point, it will once Shopify Rebellion start thinking about Clubhouse next up. You know, on the Blackbeard, I have to deal with this clash at some point. 1 of 30 have proven they can do it with the verticality. This being R6 room again, they should be able to replicate that same play. Though obviously, you know, lack of the buck. I suppose might not be able to. It'll have to be a different methodology then, actually. One of those weird twists of fate, I guess. Won't have the skeleton key or the death mark trackers below, of course, because the ladder banned at the beginning. It'll be a different way of dealing with the clash this go around. Could be an op side again as Volsper placing down these ROU projectors. We saw that 1 of 30 were thinking through this plant quite well when they were on the attacking side last time they attacked R6 room.
Setting up a sequential breach.
As they set up for it again, the breaches go out. 1 of 30 seem to be treading a similar path to round 10.
Impatrick there to try and deal with that Selma. It isn't going to work though. Just goes a little bit too far. Drone works in through the site as well. Provide some crucial information at a later point. Silo, brilliant line in through the site and can get a glimpse onto the clash. Canadian hasn't really got too much to worry about. That is, unless the nades start to fly. Still a good portion of nades left in the hands of these attackers. Surf, once again with those Shumikas, need to be accurate this time. Ooh, just dipping behind that keeper barricade. Another Sensor ROU projected to go in. The opening kill here is going to be critical in deciding this round.
And Canadian trying to hold on as the utility goes through. Shield planted. Mike W good with the first. Ambi follows it up. Big kills for Mike W. 1v3 for the Rebellion. As Rexon, with all to do, can take a 1v1 on the backside. Spots the gridlock, but into the post. Shield shocking, sending it through. Volsper tag, but Silo on the fall off is a lot lower. Still escapes back into ops. So what can he find? A long arm doesn't seem likely. And 1 of 30 have the ability to trade. Quick spray. Oh, but the pre-fire doesn't work. 5 attacks out of 6. 1 of 30 push us to OT. And how things have turned for the Rebellion.
Who have I consistently said over these past couple of days is a great space finder? Mike W. What a performance on the backstab. Just line him up and he will knock them down. Hyped, I don't think is the word right now for the way that they must be feeling. Again, a straightforward straightforward take from 1 of 30. They're not looking to overcomplicate things. They are not reinventing the wheel. These are similar strategies to what we saw SR pull out back when Lair first started to become an established map in the pool. Rexon left with the impossible task. Trying to challenge on to those 2 players in the post. He gets 1. It's a consolation prize at that stage. 1 of 30 are kind of using SR's own strategies against them, like the sends, the getting the plant down, backwards plant, the Blackbeard, the shield. You know, it's very reminiscent of the ways that we used to see Shopify Rebellion attack those sites as well. It's even with the backstabs. You know, you think Bambi Spoit on those backstabby sort of roles. You could go back and watch very similar rounds played by Shopify Rebellion, and 1 of 30 are pulling their own work against them here. They've made it to the overtime. They've achieved what we thought was pretty unachievable. SR with only 1 win on the defensive side here of Lair, and an opening kill statistic that is better forgotten if you are SR. They have been dreadful on that opening pick. 5 out of the 6 rounds inside of overtime going the way of 1 of 30. Whether it's Packer, Bino, Silo, or Mike W, that load is being shared. Mike W with the lion's share across the course of the whole map, but specifically on that attacking side, they were electric.
Deploying drone.
Yeah, and Mike W, 17 and 9 right now. Insane performance. We've highlighted him quite a few times. You have as well in particular, but win or lose, this is definitely going to be a stat line that I think a lot of people will be paying attention to going into stage 1, and a lot of teams will be keeping his name on their mind. See what he finds in this go-round with the Dokkaebi. And the SMG-12, the DMR, and the calls, of course. Great operator to alert. Can't think of better hands right now for a player to be wielding those tools than Mike W on 1 of 30. Of course, for the Rebellion, not a whole lot of gaps in this defense right now. Some players up top separated from the people down below, but these 3 defenders are all quite close to each other. Within trading distance, a lot of resources invested. Banshee will reveal that Silo's on the backside. So that clues Canadian in. Imagine Silo will check this. Oh! He might have just been clearing that. I don't even think he had information. That's just bad luck for Canadian. It gets worse for the Rebellion. Mike W and Volsper next up. 18 and 9 right now. Only a 2.0 KD, but 18's impressive enough of a stat line in a whole minute to savor this 5v2.
Rex and Surf consistently the 2 that are finding themselves in these 1vx, 2vx situations. Any kills they find here, you fear that they're going to be impactless until we get a little bit closer, a little bit further down the line. 1 of 30 aren't going to be giving him the chance. 45 seconds, diffuser in Bino's hand. Match being watched here by Rexon. He's got some great game sense. He knows exactly where Silo is. He just can't line up the shot. Well, now it's Surf. If we thought a 2 versus 5 was bad, try a 1 versus 5. Full white flash as he swings the corner. Nothing to stop this plank going down, and a flawless now for 1 of 30 as they have reached cruising speed.
No, only thing that stops the plant going down is 1 of 30 deciding to end it in an entirely different way. We are now at 5 rounds in a row out of, what, I think 6 out of 7 attacking rounds won. Insane to be doing this against Shopify Rebellion. And we knew they had it in them, right? We saw the game they played against 5 Fears yesterday. We've seen a lot of the pieces within them throughout the kickoff just stage generally. Got to give Rexon credit, you know, still smiling, of course. 1 of 30 to really lock in at this time. Impressive. Doesn't even really cut it. Now find themselves on map point. Of course, still a whole other map to go if 1 of 30 if 1 of 30 end up winning. By the same token, if the Rebellion just need 2 more rounds. Yeah, we've been saying they just need 2 more rounds for it feels like ages now, Ollie. 5-1, surely they can do it. 5-2, surely they can do it. 6-2, surely they can do it. They've given us every reason to say no, and basically since round 8, not a single reason to say yes.
An attacker-sided Lair as well.
Kind of crazy to say that.
Like, where are we? You know, you were saying before, is life real? Like, I don't know, is life real? And attacker-sided Lair, it feels like there's a little bit of a glitch going on right now. It's not something that we're used to saying, or at least used to seeing. 1 of 30. Primed and ready to take this to a Clubhouse. And all bets are off then when you get to Club. I've said it before, Club, you know, it is a 50-50 map. It is a dice roll. It's one of the first maps that a lot of teams learn how to play. Everybody knows how to play a reasonable Clubhouse.
Sequential breaching activated.
That is a bit of an understatement. 1 of 30 definitely fancying their chances here. A lot hinging on this round. If they can just get it over and done in the here and now. Clubhouse is on the cards. SR, I mean, there's the pressure. There is the mindset that they've won map 1 and they will just take the map 3 as the decider, and they back themselves in that regard. But the advantage that they've had, you'd feel like it was a missed opportunity if they weren't able to close Lair out, regardless of the score at this stage.
Could be a massive missed opportunity and really starts feeling a bit like the Dark Zero game last night. Obviously, they ended up qualifying, but when Wildcard was hitting those reverse sweeps, it was in the upper bracket. Dark Zero got to qualify because they got another shot. If that starts happening to Shopify Rebellion here, you've got no second chance in a lower bracket. You've got no second chance anywhere. Technically speaking, you got one on Clubhouse, but in terms of series, this is it. This is the end of the line, and Mike W starts it off beautiful. We've seen a kind of cold war between him and Spoit outside of that breach, and finally it lands almost at 20 kills against Shopify Rebellion. Silo downed, but oh no! Sir thinks he's found a gap, and he did for just a second, but Wolfsburg gets the trade, and the Rebellion might just be out of fire on Lair.
Again, another situation where we are just at a man disadvantage. SR. That opening kill statistic, it has been horrible here on this map. Rexon, I feel like we're consistently looking toward him, asking for a miracle at the moment. But he's never really been given good and fair opportunity to pull it off. 4 and 11 at the minute. Might be a little bit different after this round. He's found the one onto Mike W. Silo is, of course, low as well. 50 seconds left. There is a world here where SR are able to find a way through, but they lack so much. They've not got the vert, they've no hard breach left, they've got a bit of information. But they need somebody to find a gap, somebody to go huge here. If not, it's going to be curtains, and it is going to be Clubhouse.
Feels like it's calling. You can hear 1 of 30 are ready for it. They've got the 4v3, they've got the utility, the positioning as well. Surely the Rebellion can't pull out something at this stage. Ambi in from the backside, takes Wolfsburg. Bino low as well, but ends up winning that important engagement. Canadian down 2. The low HP doesn't matter. He can't even hit the last one. 1 of 30 make a comeback. How does 8-6 sound? The Rebellion choke a 4-round lead and have to bet it all on Clubhouse.
And you start wondering, you know, how does that face up then against some of the best in Brazil or the best in Europe? And you start to question, like, well, you know, we want to be sending our best prospects there to the major. And that's something that I always keep in mind come qualification time. And I guess now we're going to find out who it is. You know, it's a best of 1. It's a straight shootout on Clubhouse. It's probably the last place that anyone wants to decide a major qualification, just given the nature of this map and given the nature that any team can perform. Always comes down to Club. It always comes down to being one of those situations. 1 of 30 starting off on, let's face it, their favored side of things tonight, starting off on that attack, and SR starting on the side that they have found the most difficult, starting off on that defense.
I have to hope it goes better than it did on Lair, and I can't really believe I'm saying that. Like, I hope the defenses on Clubhouse go better than they did on Lair. It just goes to show how bleak things are looking right now for Shopify Rebellion. How good things are looking for 1 of 30 as well. I mean, many of the attacks that they did on the back half of map number 2 going into this one, Clubhouse, which is kind of funny how it all panned out, that we actually end up will be finishing this series between the two, also on the first map that these two played all the way at the beginning of the stage. Needed all 3 maps to do it. Certainly not complaining whatsoever. Makes things a lot easier for Ollie and I. Makes it a lot easier to get excited. That map ended at the beginning with Shopify Rebellion winning things 8-7. It'd be another overtime, but at least that'd be the job done. But for 1 of 30, they are looking probably to SSG. Sure, they lost, but they 7-3 DZ on Clubhouse
10 seconds
earlier. We
remaining.
know that underdog teams can do it against the big ones.
5
And
seconds left.
SR potentially looking like, you know, some of the weakest of the people that coming into today.
Attackers'
We'll have to see
objective is
how
to
it
locate a
pans
bomb
out
and
as the
defuse
bans
it.
have come through. External breaching bans, Capital and Ying on the other side. All eyes on 1 of 30 to see how they play round 1.
Packer isn't going to be wasting any time whatsoever. It's a slow slingshot, but it's a slingshot nonetheless. He's getting a couple of barricades open for himself. It removes the thought that somebody could be there, and Canadian just caught wandering like a fish out of water. He's dropped the hatch inside of construction and just gets caught there. Well, some things change, the map, the operators, where we are, but some things stay the same, and that is that Shopify Rebellion lose the opening pick.
It's unfortunate to say the least. I mean, sure, maybe it's only a mute, maybe only a C4 gone, but Trend continues. 1 of 30 continuing, one of the highlights for their time on Lair. Rexon and Ambi both falling back. They get away with it. The Q barriers on the site, certainly good utility to have. Bolstering those mirror windows, also present. The Bees will make things hard to play in blue for that one we saw specifically, kind of reversed, facing into Moto. Ooh, what a drone as well. Locked on the player behind Jen. This is going to be really good information for 1 of 30 to play off of, and Rexon might be in a difficult spot as we reach the halfway point.
Bit of hurt being made at the top of these main stairs now. Canadian loss is kind of questionable, because if the mute jammers are down, okay, the utility's there, but it's still a C4. It's still a big part of the puzzle when you're defending downstairs. You want to be able to challenge onto that kitchen. You want to be able to challenge onto that kitchen corridor. And as such, Packer's just going to be allowed to move through and swing that sledgehammer for free. Surf playing a risky game. He has his C4 pre-placed. Can go for a little bit of a Hail Mary, but it ain't going to work out. Bees now going to stop anybody from playing behind Generator without being caught out, but Surf happy to put himself in that firing line. Silo isn't going to drop just yet. Mike W keeping an eye over there on Moto, but is instead going to flex over and switch toward those main stairs, and that's going to be a position that Vulspa takes up.
Peeking through the Moto door right now. Silo creeping up. No Beast to make use on this blue push, or at least not any remaining. Bino with the next pick. Ooh, Silo wants to push forward, but the smoke canister will force him back. They've still made a lot of good progress, though. Almost a 4v2, but can't quite thread the needle. Still an advantage, but starting to run low on time. No toxic canisters remaining. Silo needs to win this 1v1 with the player behind Jen, otherwise this mirror can look forward. But there we go! It's actually a kill acquired before that, and Wolfsburg gets the final 2. 1 of 30 continue their streak. We are on 7 rounds in a row.
Even the rounds that it looks like SR should be walking away with, they're not. Because 1 of 30 are finding a way. The value, by the way, out of Grimsby's in that round was absolutely insane. I think he had every defender tracked on that basement level at some point. 1 of 30 knew exactly where everybody was. And don't get me wrong, it's not too much of a surprise. You're attacking basement on Clubhouse. You kind of know where people are going to be. But just having that confirmation, having that surety that that's exactly where that player is at that moment in time is massive.
Attackers have located a bomb.
1 of 30 did not waste that opportunity. I feel like the mental game's won. You know what I mean?
Temporarily, at least. We'll see if the Rebellion get back into it, but the longer 1 of 30 win these rounds,
10 seconds left.
I would say there's a clear victor in the short term.
5 seconds remaining.
Home improvement time.
Attackers are heading out to defuse a bomb.
Moving up to gym and bedroom. Shopify Rebellion still looking for a round between the back half of Lair and now the beginning of Clubhouse. This 130's attacks go quite well at the start. Not only another opening pick, but 3 players remaining. Very good coordination. Everyone waiting to see if the other shoe will drop or if 130 will just continue their streak and, as you put it, Ollie, just win, now not only the mental game, but even win the game outright at this point. CCTV and Cash extension. 1 player on red stairs, 1 inside of Cash itself. The Deimos in play. It seems very clear what 130's plan is to deal with these players. Bring the Vendetta, Deathmark track from below. Hopefully Mike W and Silo be able to pinch things, or at least Mike W in this situation. Too much beyond that, but that's at least seems to be the game plan for the first half. Oh, well, not anymore. Surf has somehow killed him.
That is the first opening engagement in the last 7 rounds of this series that SR have won. That is how dire this opening pick has been. And finally, 1 of 30 have just flown a little bit too close to the sun. It was always going to happen eventually. But it's whether it becomes a consistent theme or not. That'll be the thing to worry about. Canadian, great swing there onto Mike W. Able to take him down, and that is the cue to drop back to site. Going to leave Ambi out on an island, but Ambi is more than capable as he grabs his second onto Silo. He might even make it a third here. Look at him go! Oh, line him up, and Ambi will knock him down every day of the week. A consistent performer throughout the series. He put up a great score on Lair, but it wasn't enough to keep his team in it. But he's already starting Clubhouse on the right foot.
Not to be negative after a play like that, but there is something I do want to mention. If you go back to Nighthaven, Ambi had similar moments like that, and he was smiling. He was getting excited. He was really getting into it. Thereafter that play, obviously, quite stoic, quite stolid, not very happy. And of course, the obvious answer is like, well, yeah, obviously, like, they just lost 8-6, being up 6-2. Of course they would. But it is something, it's a recurring theme I've noticed about Shopify Rebellion, and kind of goes back to the desk brought up, and I think it was a point that Jonah mentioned specifically about how much does that pressure really get to a team like this. And asterisk, this is generally a bit of a subjective judgment that I'm about to make, like, could be wrong, could have like a biased perception of what I remember, but it does feel like of a lot of the teams that kind of go through these mental slumps, it feels like when Shopify Rebellion are down, they're really down and struggle to get back into it. Like, I feel like even with players like, even teams like DZ earlier, we still had moments where when players would get a big pick, there'd be a pop-off, but Ambi didn't even smile after that. It's just something I picked up, something I noticed, and the desk had mentioned something similar, but it was a really good play, excellent round, but again, I think just again further evidence that, you know, it's a tie game, great play, everyone's still clearly not happy with the situation.
No, and I think it'll take a little bit of time for that to sort of wear off. We're still very early on into Clubhouse. It's all about reserving and conserving that energy at the moment. And attacking CCTV and Cash for 1 up 30. Bino, going to be on his trademark Monty. They'll have a laser gate to try and contend with, but there's plenty of throwables that they're going to be able to use to try and get rid of that. 6 smokes specifically. One of those is looking like a likely target at the moment. Surf. It's going to be hopped up inside of Cash. There's nothing really stopping this breach from being opened over on the construction side. Obviously with the Cade and Bandit both banned. Tuber not in play. Jonah can of course assist somewhat, but really against the exothermic of Thermite. So it's going to be opened up for free there. And that kind of telegraphs that 1 of 30 are going to try and go for a more construction-sided push, which kind of contradicts the Monty, because Monty is always associated with taking control over inside of Garage. With some coordinated smokes and a coordinated drop, and Packer with the first kill onto Surf.
Just walking in, doming Surf out the gate. Bino losing some HP. Mike W losing his life. Not entirely sure where these things are coming from, but seems to be favoring Shopify Rebellion briefly until Wolfsburg gets activated. It's a mass of kills over on the Logi and the bedroom side. Kind of characteristic of a lot of the 1 of 30 rounds we've actually seen, mainly yesterday, but also a little bit on Nighthaven as well with really close trades. Definitely a lot more factor in the 5 Fears game. Something we'll see manifest in round 3 against the Rebellion. As Rexon and Ambi hold on to CCTV cash, they'll take the standard positions. One player on red, one player inside of CCTV. No more smokes for Volsper, but you at least have flashes to make these fights a bit easier. Sent in through deep, caught by a magnet. As Silo tries to push through, caught by Ambi pretty quickly, or maybe even Rexon on that DMR. Now that secondary utility hasn't worked. You'd like to see an alternative option if you're one of 30, because this current one in front of you isn't looking very good. So much charge will create a little bit of a hole, angle in the wall. Ooh, but an impact grenade goes out as well, and Rexon lines them both up to end. 2 rounds in a row, of course, breaking one of 30 streak with the last round victory, but now with 2 in a row, for the first time, feels like maybe we've got something to talk about.
Well, the smiles are starting to return to the Shopify Rebellion players' faces, which is always a good sign. You very rarely see teams that are frowning and scowling winning games. It's always usually accompanied with a nice smile and a little bit of banter starting to flow. Hopefully they can not even like relax into this game, just get in the swing of things. 1 of 30 have held the advantage for just so long now. We're starting to feel a little bit insurmountable, like it was nothing that SR could do to get over this hump. Rexon pleased with himself on the end of that round, and so he should be. Round 4, back down to the basement we go. And I don't think the Canadian's going to be getting caught out by any slingshots through that main door. For anyone wondering, by the way, I call it a slingshot. I don't know if there's an official name for it, but it's the opening of a barricade by someone that isn't you, so that you can just take that space. Because it's so common to just shoot barricades open, off spawn, and create a lot of phantom pressure. And you don't always expect, if you hear the shots coming from a long way away, sure, you know the barricade's gone, but you don't always expect someone to be right there straight away and immediately taking that space. With the way that 1 of 30 are, you know, quite fearless in a lot of ways of taking space. And I think, you know, Packer and Mike W, 2 big players and enablers in the way that they like to play that. They're both ones that you have to watch for it. Mike W, though, certainly having a quieter start here to Clubhouse than what we saw over on Lair.
I think we can forgive him for resting a little bit, though. I mean, what was it, 19 kills at the end of map 2? Yeah, just can't do that every day. Certainly don't expect that much from you know, some of the newer players into the NA League. Though for my player Mike W's caliber, always good to see it. Always happy to see it. Give him some time off. Volsper as well. Got to give him credit too. Obviously 4 and 2 so far, but had a bit of a rough going on Lair. He was the highest rated player on that given lap. So for what that's worth, he's had some good moments for 1 of 30's just various games we've seen tonight and in general. As for the basement round, Shopify Rebellion going back downstairs with the Mira no longer in play. Still have the beloved Clash for a Canadian, though, brought out for the first time this map. Just a full clear for all of 1 of 30. Minute 10 seconds in, already getting these hatches open. It's looking like a full bunker into a full clear Ollie, which means you and I will have to find a way to fill time for the next minute 15 or so.
Yeah, it's not like the intention is crystal clear either from 1 of 30. We know that they're a team that likes to get the plant down. We saw a heck of a lot of planting from both teams, to be fair, over on Lair. That church wall has to be a focus at some point. The thing that worries me is, of course, the time. And Clash is just going to become more and more powerful the further that this clock ticks down. Now, you've got a couple of ways of dealing with it. You can throw an EMP, you can throw a nade, you can try and displace, or you can try and work an angle through the floor. It looks like that's what Packer's trying to do right now, just opening up some lines of sight in toward kitchen. There are players still confident enough to lurk around underneath that. It isn't enough that it's stopping full rotations just yet. More work needs to be done now, but Sledge, as we know, is one of the slower ones at making that work happen with the soft breach. Swinging that sledgehammer can be a tedious process and certainly much slower than a ram boogie drone or a buck skeleton key. Starting to see some of the defender utility used now to try and choke out the bottom of those main stairs, because that's where a lot of this 1 of 30 attack is starting to punch up. But you know the player to watch though. Primed and ready to drop that moto hatch, although he too looks like he's going for a little bit of an adjustment.
Seems 1 of 30 is overall kind of just looking for adjustment. 25 seconds remaining, just getting these breaches open. It's already going to be a late time execute if they went right now, and it still seems like we're a few seconds away from major action ROU projectors down through the ceiling, but it's the first kill breaking the way of the Rebellion in red time now with no clear advantage and no clear lead between these two teams. Missed opportunity as 1 of 30 tries to claw something out. Bino withstanding as much as he can, and while he puts the diffuser down, it's more a Pyrrhic victory than anything. As well, he spots the clash, another one pops up. This man is not dead yet. I can't help but point that out. Oh, spots another! Surely not! How the hell can he do that? Stays alive in dark. Bino sees us through.
How has Canadian died on the clash? Like, of all the people that you look at that go down and you see, okay, 1 versus 3 with the diffuser down. It's doable. We always give the benefit of the doubt. We've just seen it done, for goodness sake. But then you look and you see the clash is still alive. Everything should be fine. The defenders just walk up, distract the attacker, get across. Don't peek him one at a time, and certainly don't drop the shield. Oh my goodness, we've got a player inside of blue just not doing anything as well. We've got to be peeking that together. I mean, Rex and Nambi tried, but Bino was just able to find way too much space. I don't know. That might be the round that does it for me.
That might be the round.
Deploying razor wire.
Really? You calling it?
I don't know what else to say. There's going to be utter head loss after that round on the side of SR. Like, that is not a round that those boys should be losing anytime. I don't care who they're against. They should not be losing that. 3 versus 1, plant down, and a clash. Like, all you've got to do is do it together. Whatever you do, you just have to do it together.
I mean, to your point as well, when you talk about the problems of doing it together, the desk has mentioned that of all the teams kind of we have in the NAL, Shopify Rebellion, maybe kind of matched a bit by older SSG, very hectic comms at times. A lot of players who like to talk a lot, sometimes talk over each other. Seemingly the coordination slipping a little bit in that 1v3. Even when you have the double swing between the Azami and Rexen, I think on either mute or the smoke, just because of the nature of that corner, Bino actually has an opportunity to isolate only a 1v1 rather than stuck in the 1v2. You can evade it entirely again. That's more just like a problem of like not positioning for the attackers, but just like the way the map is built and where Bino happens to be. But yeah, with that clash in particular, to your point, 1v3 that Bino would be quite happy about. I imagine we'll all be quite happy about seeing that live, but if you're a Shopify Rebellion fan, the hits just keep coming. It's only a tie game. 30 threatening a lead right now with that kind of momentum, getting hype, and momentum potentially getting worse for Shopify Rebellion depending on what happens. And be taking a quick peek with the super shorty, but can't get any angle on Volspur on that sledge. So instead, turning his attention back towards the construction balcony. As Bino, finding CCTV and cache is clear, will help 1 of 30 get set up for the next half of their round.
Again, so much space being taken by 1 of 30, and they're not really having to contest for it. They've quite literally just walked into garage, CCTV, and now they've got an option to just walk into construction. All facilitated by Bino on this Blackbeard. And it's, I don't know, is it kind of like SR are playing a little bit scared? Like, why are they not vying for this control? Last time when we saw this site, they managed to get a slew of kills controlling inside of CCTV, and they left Ambi playing a shield at the top of red stairs, and Ambi was able to pick up 3. It was a flawless round. And this time it's the polar opposite. We've got players backing up, nobody really wanting to be that one to make the mistake or take the engagement. Canadian, yeah, sure, he's going to be able to keep people back on the breach, but it's surely only a matter of time for someone like Surf, especially with Packer lurking around the corner. Soliton scanner, look at the info.
Look at the information, but Packer's only good for 1. All of that to aid the gunfight, but Shopify Rebellion 3 bodies wide. 4v1 as the clash keeping Silo outside of the Jacuzzi breach. Easy, it seems. Could be a 4-1 right now, but Shopify Rebellion trying to put a lid on any momentum gained by that 1v3 in round 4. I guarantee themselves a tied half, though we still want more.
I'm not over the demons of round 4 yet. I feel like I'm still going to be quite harsh on SR until that's a little bit more of a distant memory, or they've put a little bit more space in between where we are at the moment and that round, because it's still very fresh in the mind. I'm sure that 1 of 30 is still reveling in that fact as well. But one round doesn't make a game, unless of course it's the last one, and then it often does. But back down to the basement we go for another attempt here as the Rebellion. They know it was a one-off. They know it's not something that's going to happen every single time. They'll know that they misplayed it, and they'll know what to do differently. 1 of 30. Chance now for an equal half. But even then, there's an argument to say that SR have done fairly well on this side. It just could have been a lot better. And I think that's the frustration and maybe the story of the night is that SR have played good Siege today, but it just could have been better.
We'll see if that narrative ends up proving true, and I definitely think the teams that might end up agreeing with you the most is Shopify Rebellion. Already hear some of the lines that might come in the interview if they win this game, but that is still a big if. 130 could tie things up with this round. 4-1 lead was a possibility, but by Bino's 1v3, this could be a tie game going in, and 1 of 30 will be more than happy with that. Going back down to basement. Only site that 1 of 30 have won, by the way, on this attacking side. Either gym bedroom or CCTV, good for them. The basement, I suppose. Really quite excellent. Surf with the hop. Oh, this is not going to end well. Oh, no. This is not, no, that's never happening. In no universe is that happening.
Ill-advised. I don't think that is or was or ever should be the play. Surf going down pretty early. Must be the curse of the mute. Ooh. Canadian went down pretty early when he played that as well. Canadian, at least for round 6, is going to be safe and sound on these main stairs, just vying for a little bit of attention, letting the attackers know that he is there. Maybe even trying to bait Ambient for something on that vertical. Canadian needs to maintain this space. Might W was shift Wing down those main stairs, just trying to make a little bit of a gap close, try and take a bit of that space. But he's done the right job because it has forced Canadian out of the picture. So most of the site now pretty clear to go, or most of the upstairs, excuse me, pretty clear to go and effect onto the site. Packer can start to swing that sledgehammer. And we criticized the time last time, Lynx. You know, we said, there wasn't loads of time left, and to be honest, there wasn't. The plant went down, and it was all fairly scrappy. 1 of 30 can't be relying on that sort of 1 versus 3 clutch every single time. We do need to see them move a little bit quicker here. Already we're seeing more progress.
As my friend would say, time to ring.
More progress and good progress indeed. Envy will try to put a stop to it. Breaking down the oil pit barricade, but oh, what a drone. Great stuff. Packer's already on it. Zero complaints. Zero complaints on that play. 1 of 30. Excellent. Not only getting the information, but activating off of it. 45 seconds remaining. A lot of utility still generally remaining for the attacking side. No Bs, but the nades, the death marks, they're actually kind of running out of those. See the push up blue hallway. Wolfsburg goes down. Potential Rebellion 3v5 is Canadian again with the SMG out. He at least wins the fight there. It is a dead heat. 2v2 is Spoit prone with a pistol around the corner, but he wins that one. 1v1 now with the TCSG. Bino, surely he doesn't do it again. Does his man own basement? No, he's been evicted. Spoit's here to stay. 4-2 as the Rebellion gain the lead.
Spoit's seen enough 1 versus 1s to know how to play that one. Rexon still breathing a sigh of relief, and even that wasn't a convincing enough win to give SR a smile. We're going to have a break and listen to our desk.
Well, what a mess these last few rounds have been. Shopify Rebellion, they pull out the lead here at 4-2 after a Clubhouse defense is no surprise. But we have to talk about Bino's clutch before we do anything else.
I mean, I agree with Ollie. Had this round not happened and they just closed it out, that 3v1, we probably talked about Rebellion in a different regard in this instance. But for them to lose this round, everything was set up for them. I mean, Bino, I mean, me and you specifically let out an audible what the second he hits this shotgun.
Insane.
Now, that shotgun has never done me wonders in my career ever.
That is the longest shot that shotgun has ever hit
in history. I mean, again, Bino, insane play. SR should have never allowed that to happen.
No, it shouldn't have happened. Amazing round from Bino. That being said, I feel like this set 1 of 30 up for failure. The hype that they got from that round, everyone got so eccentric, loud, hyped, excited. Oh my God, we're back in this game. And then they just started playing kind of crazy. I don't know. Like the last 2 rounds easily could have went in 1 of 30's way if they just played it slower in the latter half. I mean, that last round, That last round was so questionable.
What, a 5v3 and then
It
they
looked
tossed it?
perfect. They got the 5v3. We even heard Link say, "Oh wow, no." What did he say? He said no, no complaints. We saw Packer held the flank, and then all of a sudden, there's 30 seconds left, and everyone just walked into the site. Was like, "Hey, we got ours. We're winning," and just walked into the site. And we're losing the plot a little bit after that clutch. I mean, 1 of 30. Yes, it was an amazing clutch, but SR is still human. They still need to play slower. And I hope with the side swap, they're able to re-grasp that, because you don't want that big 1v3 to just go in vain because you got overzealous and you're over-swinging.
Well, it can happen, and we heard it in the comms, right? Like, that energy can carry over, the reactions can carry over, but now they need to settle in. And looking at this second half, if they want to do the same thing they did on that last map, it's got to happen as quick as they can. Shopify Rebellion, we know they're going to be bringing it on the attacking side. Lynx, XR Troika, let's see what happens here.
I mean, we do know that. We do know they can bring it on the attacking side. I mean, we saw that on Lair. Haven't seen that on Clubhouse. Maybe we'll have better odds. But I think the bigger thing, Ollie, is do Shopify Rebellion, can they bring us a second half that is worth talking about? Because they could on Nighthaven Labs, but when it came to Lair, the bigger question I have is not can the Rebellion perform on attack or defense, it's can they close out a map?
That's the question at the moment. Can they close out a map, and can they close out a series? We saw them do it on Labs. That feels like a long time ago. I mean, it was a long time ago. We had an overtime Lair sandwiched in between Labs and where we are now. But unable to close the series on Lair. Only 1 round away and consistently unable to find the solution. You do worry a little bit. They've had a much better defense this time, though. Clubhouse has been a lot kinder to them. And again, barring that 1 round, it should be a 5-1. Let's be honest.
Definitely should be a 5-1.
And I think it's again a really strange momentum shift in the game, where you look at it in the context of that and you go, yeah, you know, it probably just should be a 5-1, shouldn't it? But the feeling, the sentiment around it is very far from that truth. It just doesn't feel like it's been a very close game, even though 1 of 30 are 2 rounds behind. And we've all seen what 1 of 30 are capable of. They won 7 rounds in a row across this series. They won a whole map's worth of rounds. You know, and Shopify Rebellion were just sort of along for the ride for a lot of it. This first round on the attack is going to tell us quite a bit, though. Monty and the Capital banned out by 1 of 30. Countered, of course, with the standard hard breach denial ban that has been consistent throughout the course of this game for both sides. Sport going to face no problems there on Striker, opening up the old jacuzzi wall and looking to try and make a little bit of headway in onto this map.
Just open some of these exterior angles, create some points of ingress. There we go. I got confused in my head for a second. Points of ingress into the map. Should be able to make it work, though. Hard breach charge on the plot wall is 1 defender, I think, pretty close by inside of CCTV. You can see the Rebellion beginning to comprehend this roam setup with the castle barricades, a lot of the layered positions. Ooh! Did not check the vertical angles. Mike W, bit of a narrow one, though. Can kind of forgive Surf for that. That's going to be a difficult one to read, a difficult one to anticipate. Oh, this is ridiculous. Hiding in the corner as well. Canadian just, I think, sending 1 for the fall-off. Anticipating somebody to rotate down main. But if he's assuming there's no gap, you might know that player's still in logistics. Void also not able to recover this one. Oh! That's unlucky for Volsper. Ends up walking into the nade. Do they know that there's still somebody inside? Oh, poor Mike W. Deathmark Tracker flies around, sees that he's ratting behind the desk. Surely they get this one. This guy's trapped in a corner. You've got 2 nades. You've got a Candela. This has got to be it, right? He's blinded. We go in with the shotgun. No! Come on! Surely we get this. What are we doing?
Well, it looks like we're throwing a lot of bodies at 1 player inside of logistics. And it also kind of looks like Mike W's trying his best to win the round. Rexon gonna hit the gas, try and find the gap, but he is known. Silo able to shoot out 1 of the Vulcan packs and stop Rexon dead in his tracks. That default camera being up isn't going to have helped him at all. And there is little to no link between the remaining 2 players for SR here. A little bit of time and plenty of drones to try and work something here. Castle targeted by Deimos. Packer immediately going to respond, though. Rexton, I feel like he's been in the 1vx so many times tonight, and you just can't consistently ask that of them. Final kill being found there by Silo. 1 of 30 start off this defense phase very strong indeed. A brilliant hold from Mike W, who, let's be honest, otherwise has had a fairly quiet Clubhouse so far.
Very quiet Clubhouse, actually. I think before that, he might have been at 0, maybe 1 kill. After that, solid 3K for Mike W, as where do we even begin with the fiasco that happened upstairs inside logistics? That man is deathmark tracked, and I just want to give like a quick play-by-play of all the utility we had. Actually, I think we're probably going to see it right now. We got 2 Candelas, 1 being thrown there, 2 different sets of nades between Rexton and Spoit respectively, and somehow we lose 2 bodies in the process. Listen, and I get it, that's an awkward gunfight. Like, he's kind of below the table, Canadian's dropping with a shotgun, thinks that maybe that can work for the engagement. The ironic thing is, if Canadian takes that fight with a pistol, there's probably a decent chance none of that happens. But of course, things happen. Can't blame him. Sometimes we have the wrong weapon out. But it's like the 1v3 all over again, right? It's like, in the grand scheme of things, Shopify Rebellion are still playing good. They are still the better team. And yet you just have moments like that that really stick out.
Big defining moments. You're always going to get him inside of a best of 3. Oh dear. Mike W on to Ambi. It's starting again, Lynx. It's opening kill prowess. It's aggression, perfectly tempered. Takes Ambi out of the picture. He was a star player on Lair. He's yet to find the same Ambi level of impact that we've been used to seeing from him. Isn't going to slow SR down too much, though. It's going to be still standard fare, getting that wall open on plat and looking to try and pressure in through to Cash from CCTV. You've lost a lot of your information gathering. You've lost a lot of your ability to work that vert. And that is going to come back to bite SR. Now someone else is going to have to go out of their way to make that happen. Rex and Canadian both primed and ready here as they start to try and move through.
Full spur. Ooh! Takes a 1v1 outside of Khan. Spoit's better on that one.
Drone active.
Maybe he goes down early, but the Rebellion able to recover from that, at least for a little bit. CCTV, cache, and construction cleared. Plenty of utility on the site. You've got the black mirrors and the Kiva barriers, but also, as you can see, I believe I was about to say, that's Packer. Already used his C4, unfortunately. Bino's got one. So what Packer can do right now is keep this bit of control secured. Maybe allow Bino to rotate down later for the C4, or even just hold that angle and shoot through the floor. We'll have to see, though. So a minute 15 to go.
Radar is picking up an enemy.
Excuse the wall now being open. Surf can sit and try and watch that. Bit of info available for Spoy here. Might be able to work something on these windows. There's no mute, so the info is going to be accurate. Bees go in. Couple get caught by the YMI discs, but it's going to be too much of a problem. Mike W really tucked in at the moment. Going to try and have to hit that impact trick, but between a bit of a rock and a hard place really there. The utility excellently used by SR to really pin him down and enable a very secure and straightforward kill for Surf to get. Nice dodge out of the flash there, but Bino isn't going to be able to swing off the back of it. Instead, it's Packer to retake that position and to try and hold this off. But no, planted on the middle of the bed in pure sight of the mirror window. Spoit has to pick it up. Canadian has to hit this cover. Spoit comes off the plant, gets downed in the process, and Canadian has to hit his shot and does. It was a little bit like role reversal there. Usually it's Canadian getting the plant down and Spoit or Ambi on the cover. They had to show that he still has what it takes to cover his teammates when it matters most.
Oh, it is brutal watching this game. It is brutal. Not even because it's bad. It is just terrifying at every turn. 1v3 in that round. We've got the chaos that happened in basement in the previous one, and now we have this as well. Oh my goodness. It is not, they do not make it easy being a Rebellion fan, but they're not making it easy for 1 of 30 either. Again, while it is these isolated moments that give us fear, the Rebellion are playing very well overall. You look at that round, Spoit able to keep a lid on things in construction. We have a lot of presence and pressure being applied from CCTV and Cash. They're checking all the right boxes, and even then, obviously the bed is not a super safe spot. But if you look at the overall trend of that round, Packer was ratting the entire time, was never really spotted, and so the reason he was able to actually take advantage of the Grim, playing a bit sloppy with the plant, is probably because the Grim didn't know he existed, thought the mirror window was clear, and so thought it was fine. A lot of that was just kind of happenstance because of Packer's super deep roam. Everything else beyond that was a very good clear from Shopify Rebellion. As you can see, almost a 4v1, except when Packer, I will say, gets that kill on the top floor, but information is still a little hectic. Good on Canadian for getting that trade, and you can still see that even though that came down to the wire, the energy is there for Shopify Rebellion.
I just hope it's enough for them to carry it over the line. A couple more rounds is all that is needed, and this best of 3 will be a distant memory, and they can start to focus on the major. It won't have been an easy journey by any stretch, and I think that 1 of 30 will have given a great account of themselves. But with the way that the series has gone, I just don't think it's going to be that straightforward. Rebellion were able to convert there on a round where they didn't get that opening pick. It has been a big problem for them across the course of the series, but typically they've lost the opening pick and then lost the round. That was a little bit different. They were able to battle back despite losing Ambi nice and early. Packer seeing a little bit of damage early on, but given his position, I can only assume it was either defender fire or just a little bit through a slightly broken barricade on one of the bedroom windows. Alas, he's going to be alive for the rest of the round at the least. Ambi this time successfully makes his way over toward the top of these Adam stairs and will be able to start to move through. Drone primed and ready after he destroys the castle barricade and just clears his path.
Give him a good position to lurk up or peek red stairs later on. As much of the Rebellion will just be taking down these bits of utility on the outskirts of the defensive setup. Ooh, trying to climb with the ladder. Canadian struggling a little bit. That's okay. Ooh, great drone. All the way up in rafters. That is a very good angle. It's going to be very useful. Spotting that the player, I believe it can spot the player playing around R90. Scandella's going to bounce this. Maybe try to take the fight against the player playing in lounge. Could be risky. Still cooking it, I was going to say. Canadian likely thinking better of it now. As the Rebellion trying to make sure lounge and swamp are completely in the hands of the attack before they start pushing this player in garage. But half the round's gone, and aside from Ambi hopping into secret, they have made very little progress. They need to start picking up the pace and picking it up soon.
Yeah, the pace hasn't been really there for him. And again, I don't know if it comes down to that almost playing scared mindset that we kind of thought we've seen a few times from this team. Canadian ready, Spoit on the hatch drop, Ambi with the track. This is all signifying a bit of a 3-2-1 they're going to try and make something happen with. Ambi had the barbed wire to contend with though and wasn't accounting for Packer just walking from lower garage steps. Seems like Spoit has been unable to make impact as well as he's got a challenge on both sides. Will find one, importantly, and can turn his attention toward the top of cash.
Throw a flashbang as well, but Packer quickly regains his vision. Likely a brief pause. Spoit, a huge victory to keep pressure consistent on the Logi side. Could get some support from Canadian as the Candelas go deep. How much can Packer do? He can still look through, of course. But on the red side, this utility isn't getting a lot. Spoit finding another is Bino. Walking out of the con door, Volsper down too. A nail biter in the mid game, but now Packer in another 1v3 fell short just by 1 kill on Gym Bedroom. Can he do something different on CCTV? Spoit downed. Player inside of CCTV, putting this diffuser down, puts through the shotgun, but hit by the air jab. If it's gonna be finished, it'll be finished in the post. As Surf and Canadian both pull out their weapons, ready to crossfire. Canadian with a Candela, but of course Packer the exact player to look through this. Another air jab hit, as that'll trigger Surf's position, hops up on the drone. And again, we find ourselves SR, 6 rounds. But can they get the one that matters most?
That's the big question. They had that chance on Lair, and they let it slip through their fingers. There are no more chances after Clubhouse. They don't even have to play Perfect Siege from this point onwards. They have a buffer, but it will be nice. It will be a confidence boost to see them deal with this handily. Take it as a 7-3. Forget the Beano clutch round. Could even call it a 7-2 at that point. And then the maps that they won look quite nice. 7-3, 7-3. If only it was going to be that easy. 1 of 30. What an account they've given themselves here tonight. What an advertisement. Say, yep, we might be new kids on the block. We might have qualified through Challenger. But we can play and we can hang with the big dogs as well as anybody else in the league. They've done it before. Who's to say they won't do it again? Clash and Ying removed was the final bans in this map and of this series. 1 of 30 not wanting to give that Ying that explosive power over toward SR. And quite rightly, SR not wanting to deal with the frustrations that can be that clash. Something that both teams have played, both teams have had an advantage from, and in some cases not. This round's going to be a little bit different. Silo, quite a lot of castle barricades going in and around that mid floor. For a basement defense, that signifies a bit of a hold. Previously, we saw this site, Mike W held quite firm, it's fair to say, Lynx inside a Logi. He did a brilliant job.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think he's going to get away with it again, but it wouldn't put it past me for him to try.
Well, again, talk about zero complaints. I can tell you Mike W had zero complaints in that round. Just literally, like, could not have gone better. Especially in the position he was in, quite literally, it could only have gone better if he had gotten an ace, and that is just wildly unrealistic to bet on or hope for. Like you said, we'll see if he continues to do it. I see someone around Logi right now, and it's making me nervous. I don't like it. I can still see him. Ooh, not a hot breach into main stairs. Not letting anything get near as far away as last time. Oh no, Ambi. Little shaky as he takes the fight with Volsper. Information relayed to the Azami and the Goyo. Silo down, but it's Packer the first to fall. Shopify Rebellion trying to take the pace quick. Could be ended in one fell swoop. One falls. Canadian good with the next. We've got a 5v2. As Bino and Silo retreat and Shopify Rebellion have the scent.
Silo, 1 HP. Bino, 3 toxic canisters to his name. But SR have got 1 minute and 40. Full wealth of utility. Drones, time, bodies to throw. They have got the winning formula here. Some last second site preparations as a pocket reinforcement is used. But I think you're going to need a little bit more than that, Silo. Preferably the other 99 hit points that you're actually missing at the moment, because any sniff of damage and you're going to be out of there. Caught out on the death mark. Shots already raining through. He's done it once. Can he do it again?
A 1v5 would be the highlight of anybody's career, and for Bino in particular, this would likely be one of the greatest things we've ever seen. And to start it off marked by a death mark tracker, I don't know if he has it, but I know Bino's gonna try with Salt Lake City on the line, knows someone's on Kitchen has the information, and it's a flawless to finish it off in a game that was anything but. Shopify Rebellion bookend a chaotic series with a dominant win to start and a good one to end, as they are our last team from NA to qualify to Salt Lake City.